Great atmosphere. Fans showed up. Fun practice. See you Thursday night.
It feels great to be back. RaiderNation, love y'all, baby. Let's go!
Guys, we're back. We're back!
3rd and 5 as the Cardinals are trying to pick up a first, and it'll be a sack. It'll be a sack on the play. Malcolm Kuntz came around the corner. Be careful, Malcolm. He was jumping up and down there. Great play. Let's get off the field. Pitch to the right and blown up behind the line of scrimmage. There he is. His birthday yesterday, and he's having a birthday party early. Mad Max Crosby.
What an amazing play.
Chino in the shotgun, looking left and then back right to Dante to a corner fade. He catches it as the end. Touchdown, Las Vegas Raiders. Dante Thornton right on the back shoulder, and the Raiders are on the board.
It's Unnecessary Roughness. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right. Here's your boy Q.
And I think that intro just summarized it all that we needed to say, right? If there was anything that we were going to say, it was said right there in that 15 to 20 seconds that we just heard from Kirk Cousins to Ashton Genty, Jackson Powers-Johnson. You heard a sack from last year at this time in the preseason. Max Crosby with the big play, and even a Dante Thornton touchdown. You heard JT the Brick on the call, and he will be on the call with Eric Allen and Matt Millen coming up a little bit later on this evening as the Raiders get their preseason started tonight. It was just a couple nights ago. We were here in Allegiant Stadium as we are sitting here right now, getting a bird's eye view of the field. I'm seeing the Raiderettes warming up. I'm seeing all the video screens. They're making sure they're going through their rundown. They're getting their game day set up. You're starting to see the coaches' booths getting set up with the headsets and the telephones. And, yeah, I mean, this is what it is. It is a game day. And yes, it's the preseason, but again, it's a game day. I think our guy East Oakland Raider hit us on the text line already. I think he summarized it perfectly. What it do, Q? It's game day, baby. Don't care if it's preseason. Yay! Want to see what Mendoza look like. Want to see him on the field with the starters. Don't want him to get hurt. From the Bay to L.A. to Las Vegas. Play that Ludies, man. So there you go. That's a shout-out to our guy East Oakland Raider, and I think that that's how Raider Nation feels right now, knowing that in a matter of hours, it will be what they just said here over the loudspeakers. It will be showtime. Raiders and Cardinals preseason game number 1. And where we're at right now, Raider Nation Radio 920, your one-stop shop. It starts now. It's Unnecessary Roughness of Raider Nation Radio 920. And this show is coming to you a little bit early because, well, the game is coming up a little bit later on this evening. So this show will go 12 to 3 o'clock. Then myself and Lincoln Kennedy will take over. I'll slide over a couple booths from where I'm at right now. Me and Big Link will do the pregame show from 3 to 5 p.m. Then we'll pass the sticks on to JT the Brick, Eric Allen, and Matt Millen for the official call of the game. Jason Horowitz and Kirk Morrison, guys that you'll hear in the pregame show, they will be on the TV broadcast side of things alongside Rich Gannon. And, again, man, it's official like a referee's whistle, and it's good to be back here in Allegiant Stadium. Been here for a few hours now. I just wanted to get here, get settled, sit down, take my time, relax, and just kind of see how everything is coming together. And plus, if I'm not here, where am I going to be? At the radio station? Who wants to be in the building, right? I want to be in this building. So I made sure that all calendars were clear today. I had one goal in mind, and that was making myself and my way to Allegiant Stadium, where I'm at right now. And I'll tell you, we are locked and loaded on a big, massive show. I mean, I know the pregame show is going to start, the official pregame show that you can hear on Compass Media and, of course, right here on Raider Nation Radio 920. Doesn't start till 3 o'clock. But between what Ari has put in, the work he's put in, and the work that I put in, the collaboration, this could easily be the official pregame show that we've got lined up. Coming up at 12:30, Vinny Bonsignore, he joins us each and every Thursday to talk all things silver and black. Well, he'll join us coming up at 12:30 instead of his normal 2:30 slot. Vinny Bonsignore, California Post, and, of course, the Morning Tailgate here, Raider Nation Radio 920. We'll get his thoughts on what he's looking to see, what he's hoping will be, a productive night for the Raiders, and again, who could come out and produce, and who will we be talking about coming up tomorrow that's not named Fernando Mendoza, because clearly we'll be talking a lot about Fernando Mendoza. That's a given. So Vinny Bonsignore will join us coming up at 12:30. At 1 o'clock, Bo Brack, Cardinals reporter, host of PHNX Cardinals podcast. He'll join us at 1 o'clock just to give his thoughts on the Cardinals, who are in preseason game number 2. Remember, they played in the Hall of Fame game last Thursday, as a matter of fact, against the Carolina Panthers. The one thing, and I was looking forward to seeing this tonight, and we're not going to see it, is Carson Beck. It was put out there earlier today by Ian Rappaport that he will not play in tonight's game. He suffered an injury in that game against the Panthers, so he is out for tonight's game, and that's unfortunate because I did want to see him. He very easily could be the future of the Cardinals. For all we know, he had a really good showing in the Hall of Fame game. Would have liked to see him going up against the younger DBs that the Raiders have. But, hey, I can't pick, who's going to be out there playing, and if he's injured, you definitely don't want to throw him out there and put him in harm's way. So Bo Brack will join us, talk all things Cardinals coming up at 1 o'clock. Then, this was by special request, and I hate that I don't remember who actually called in and asked, but Louis Riddick from ESPN, it was last week. I remember the call came in, hey, Q, could you get Louis Riddick on the show to talk about Hezekiah Masses? He was very big on him in the draft process, and when the Raiders drafted him in the 5th round, he had tweeted out, he will play on Sundays. That's the 5th round steal, and everything that we've seen so far in camp from Hezekiah Masses has been exactly what Louis Riddick said. So we've been working on it ever since we got that call. I want to say, Ari, it was like Thursday or Friday of last week when we got that call, and we've been working on it ever since, trying to make sure that he gets on the show, and so we got it confirmed earlier today. He'll join us at 1:30, so we'll talk all things Hezekiah Masses. We'll hit him with some Malik Benson, the young guys for the Raiders, because, again, Louis Riddick is very much in the draft analyst conversation, and he's the guy that I know has interviewed for GMs of many teams, multiple teams, and I think sooner rather than later he'll probably will get that opportunity. It'll be great to catch up with Louis Riddick, so he'll join us coming up at 1:30. Then Sam Gordon, our good friend from the RJ, the Las Vegas Review-Journal, he'll join us at 2 o'clock, and he'll give his thoughts on what he's looking for, the different angle that he's going to be taking, and some of the players that he's going to be paying attention to when it comes to this game tonight, preseason game number 1, Raiders versus the Cardinals. Sam Gordon will join us at 2 o'clock. And, of course, we couldn't do a show like this without our good friend Amber Theoharis, Silver and Black Show. I actually saw her last night. The Raiders had a media/talent dinner for everyone that's involved, like JT, Eric Allen, Kirk Morrison, Lincoln Kennedy, and many others. And so we were all there. Amber was part of that. So as I was sitting there having dinner last night with her, I said, well, you got to come on the show, right? And she said, of course. So she'll join us at 2:30. And like I said, that'll be the show. That'll be Unnecessary Roughness. And then we'll pass the sticks on to myself and Lincoln Kennedy at 3 o'clock for the official pregame show. So we're going to be busy today. Like I said, you can literally put it on RaiderNation Radio 920 right now and leave it all the way through midnight, and you'll be good. Wall-to-wall Raiders coverage from this show to the pregame show to the call of the game to the postgame show. We've got it all right here, one-stop shop. And, man, I'm so excited to be back here in the building and see an actual game. And as you can hear the music in the background, you can hear the pyrotechniques going off in the background as well. The Jumbotron is going. They're having folks walking down the hallways there where the locker room is, just testing everything out so everything works really well when when you, Raider Nation, are here in the building a little bit later on coming up this evening. So there you go. We're locked and loaded. We're busy. Ari, I mean, I know we got a lot to get to, but I do definitely need you to go ahead and pass along the word of the day for the Summer of Fun. Just got a couple more days. Trip to Hawaii is the final trip that we're giving out. Is brought to you by Terribles. What is the word of the day?
It is flight, F-L-I-G-H-T, flight.
Nice. Now, you'll have to catch a flight to go ahead and go to Hawaii, but from Las Vegas, it's only a 5-hour direct shot. Just saying. I mean, I'm pretty good at this. I'm well-versed in the trip from Vegas to Hawaii, so there you go. That's only a 5-hour flight, and we're trying to send you there. So text that word to 702-365-9200. You have till 5 o'clock to get in to win that. If you don't want to take the trip, you can take the cash. The cash is $3,000. So before we get into the opening drive, we got to hear from our guy E-Rob, who, oh, by the way, is returning to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had some people hit me up yesterday and said, oh, man, E-Rob is signing with the Steelers. Are we still going to hear from him on the daily? Of course we're going to hear from him on the daily, because yesterday was important. Tomorrow is important. Today is important. And why is that?
Because every day matters. The older you get, the more you start appreciating day in and day out, because you know I can't get that time back. I'm in the business of saying, not if I would have did this or if I would have did that. I'm in the business of now.
And, all right, before we get into the opening drive, I got to go ahead and hit this text from our guy Sal, and then you'll have to follow the lead on this. He said, Q, we hungry, please let us in. We hungry, please let us in. He said, well, it's game day. We already busted open the door. We ate the food, drank the drink, and taken their couch and watched the game. I know it's preseason, but excited to see Mendoza and the boys like Derek back in 2014. Hit it, Ari.
If I know that in this hotel room they have food every day, and I'm knocking on the door every day to eat, and they open the door, let me see the party, let me see like them throwing salami all over just like throwing food around. But they're telling me there's no food in here. You know what I'm saying? Every day. I'm standing outside trying to sing my way in. You know what I'm saying? We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. After about a week, that song is going to change to we hungry, we need some food. After 2-3 weeks, it's like, give me all the food, breaking out the door. And after a year, just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking the lock, coming through the door, blasting, you know what I'm saying? It's like you hungry, you reached your level, you don't want any more. We asked 10 years ago. We was asking with the Panthers. We was asking with them, with civil rights movement. We was asking, now those people that were asking, they're all dead and in jail. So now what do you think we're going to do?
There you go. Just like Sal said, we hungry. Please let us in. It is game day. Let's get into the opening drive.
The opening drive of Unnecessary Roughness on RaiderNation Radio 920 AM is brought to you by Paul Pata Law. It's not about the injury. It's about the recovery.
So here we go in the opening drive. It's real simple. The question that I want to throw out there to you today, what would you determine a successful night for the Raiders would be? What would you determine as a successful night for the Silver and Black in preseason action game number 1? And I'll tell you where this came from. Last night on the Locked On Podcast Network, my guy Alex Clancy, who's host of Locked On Cardinals, he hit me and was like, hey, man, you want to do a crossover edition, which we normally save that for the regular season. But I was like, yeah, why not? That sounds good. Let's do it. So that was one of the questions that he asked. What would you determine a successful night for the Raiders? And, of course, he gave the Cardinals side of things. And for me, health was first and foremost, right? Get out of the game healthy. You want to get out of the preseason healthy, period. We know how this game goes, so you don't want to put these guys in harm's way, which is why when Vince Sapienza said he wanted to see Fernando Mendoza for 4 quarters, I thought that was insane because you just don't do that, not in preseason game number 1, not in any preseason game, to be honest with you. So you would never set your players up for failure like that. Health is the first thing. The second thing for me, I want to be able to check that box and come back to this show tomorrow and say, yes, what I saw from Hezekiah Masses in training camp confirmed against a different opponent. Yes, what I saw from Malik Benson in training camp confirmed against another opponent. Like those, I want to be able to check those boxes and say what I saw, what I thought I saw is exactly what is happening. And yes, he really is that guy. And it's not, well, he's just going up against the guys on his team, and maybe they don't stack up to where they need to stack up. Like Kirk Morrison said earlier this week, yeah, it's been great to hear everything that Malik Benson has been doing. It's been great to hear everything Hezekiah Mass has been doing. Let's see it against another opponent. So to me, if I could check that box throughout the course of the game tonight where I see Masses, I see McCoy, I see obviously Benson, see some of these young guys that have been making some noise and some headway there in training camp. If I could see that against another opponent, I'll feel really good about the direction that those guys are going and say, okay, I do think that these guys have a little juice or have something, that they could build off moving forward. Now, what you don't want is Malik Benson to get out here and get strapped up by one of the DBs on the Cardinals. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, where'd 19 go? Where'd 19 go? That's what you don't want. And another guy I'll talk about, and I was talking about him at the dinner last night, DeCam Richardson. I spent a lot of time on this show talking about DeCam Richardson, and it's year 3 for him. He's a guy that before training camp started, I kind of thought, like, all right, he's probably on the outside looking in. He might end up being one of those guys when they cut the roster down, he's expendable. But I'll tell you what I've seen so far, not against another opponent, has looked really good. And, I go back to – and I'm not saying at all that he's Nnamdi Asomugha. I'm not saying that. So I don't want any website to write that. There's going to be some questions, right? Greedy Vance is a guy who's been making some noise at training camp. He's got a couple interceptions already, including a pick 6, but that pick 6 came in 7-on-7 versus Fernando. Where does Greedy Vance stick? Can he be a guy that competes with Taron Johnson, a guy that I know the Raiders really like? Remember, they traded for him with Buffalo. They like him a lot. So, for me, that's what I really want. when it comes to a successful night, I want to be able to check the box and confirm what I've seen in training camp. And I don't want it to all of a sudden look completely different. It's going to be different because you're not going up against your own guys. It's not, a certain script. You're not working on a certain thing. The Cardinals have their game plan that they're coming into this game with, what they're going to try to work on and what they want to try to expose and how they want to operate. And the Raiders are going to do the same thing on their side. So it's not like they're sitting in the meeting room, at the facility. It's like, all right, defense, this is what we're going to do today. This is what we really want to emphasize and work on. And offense, they're not doing that. Now, they'll do that in the joint practice next week against the Texans, but they're not doing that tonight against the Arizona Cardinals. This is the Cardinals game plan, obviously going up against the Raiders game plan. And I just want to see how it looks and see if some of these guys that we've been excited about, we've been coming back to the show after training camp practice and talking about, if that, in fact, what I've seen is transforming into what we see on a game day. That's really, for me, my biggest thing. But I would love to hear from you. And I know that we're not going to have a ton of time for calls, but we have plenty of time for texts. And in between all our guests, we have a boatload of guests. Ari said it before the show. He's like, I don't know how we're ever going to outdo this show. I was like, yeah, I don't know either, but that's a good challenge for tomorrow. Right? That's a great challenge for tomorrow. I'll worry about that, I don't know, tomorrow. But today we're excited about what we have with Vinny Bonsignore coming up in less than 15 minutes, Bo Brack as well, and then Louis Riddick will join us at 1:30, Sam Gordon and Amber Theoharis. But we throw it out there, what would you determine for as a successful night for the Raiders in preseason action game number 1 versus the Arizona Cardinals? Let us know your thoughts, 702-365-9200 as Blow the Whistle just comes on the loudspeakers here inside Allegiant Stadium. See, this is the difference between tonight and today and where I'm at right now as opposed to Tuesday. I didn't get the full soundtrack on Tuesday, right? I didn't get the Raiderettes warming up. I didn't get the stage, and then where the band's going to be. I didn't get all that night because it wasn't that type of party. But this is literally game day action, and everything that would take place on a game day is taking place right now here at Allegiant Stadium. So, the next few hours are going to be a lot of fun for you and a lot of fun for me. 702-365-9200. What you got, Ari?
I was just going to say, when I heard Hills Bills earlier from AC/DC, like in the background, we were talking, show, but I was getting pumped up from that.
It gives you that little bit of edge. It gives you that feeling of, oh, yeah. It's a game day. It's a game day, right?
Yes,
man, it's and then again, it's just a preseason game, but it is a game. Looking out at the 15 right now, looking out at the highway and seeing the police start to line up and prepare themselves for traffic when they're coming to the stadium. That's the other sign, right? That okay, it's about to get real. So if you're headed to the stadium, man, first of all, be safe on your way here,
yes.
But make sure that you have fun. Enjoy yourself. Just understand it is a Raider game day, the first of many for the 2026 campaign. This is the preseason. Of course, it'll all get real coming up September 13th as the Raiders host the Miami Dolphins. French Bread, hit us up. What a great name. French Bread on the text line. A successful night for the Raiders is Nando looking comfortable and in control of the offense. The offensive line gets some kind of rhythm. Okay? The offensive line is going to be something that everyone pays attention to for sure. And, I don't know how long Fernando's going to be in there, but I wouldn't have him out there with too many different versions of the offensive line, if you know what I mean, right? They're not going to have the starters play a long time. That's something I can guarantee you based off its preseason game number 1. And this is not the first time I've ever watched a preseason game, right? They have steps to this. It's part of the process. But I wouldn't put Fernando out there behind a bunch of different offensive line variations, guys that are trying to figure out where they go. I mean, you just don't want to set him up for failure. You want to see him out there. You want to see him get comfortable, get in and out of some huddles and some snaps, and then boom. You just understand that, okay, that was step 1. That was his first time, in full uniform, on the floor here, on the grass here at Allegiant Stadium. So I like that. That's a good text, French Bread. Thanks so much for that. I do appreciate you. Steven in the 559, a successful game would be a score after each possession, whether it be 3 or 6 successful drives. Okay, so just want to see some successful drives. Look, that was one of the things that I told Alex on the show last night. I just want to see this team look like that they're, having a real offense, that they have a real game plan, that picking up a first down isn't so hard, Remember how difficult it looked last year to pick up 10 yards? It was so difficult. There was times that me, Ryan Hogue, and Jesse Merrick, who sat right next to each other in the press box, are looking at each other. It's like, man, it just took 6 plays to get 10 yards. It's like they pick up 3 yards, they lose a yard. They pick up 3 yards, they lose 3 yards. Like, it was just so difficult. False start, offsides by the defense. You know what I mean? It just seemed like everything was, it's almost like an act of God to pick up a first down. So if it took that much to pick up a first down, how difficult was it to pick up a touchdown? Or even get into field goal range. And that's what results in, a 14-point-per-game average. And averaging 77 yards on the ground. I'd like to see Genty, and Mike Washington have some holes to run. That goes back to the offensive line. I'd like to see those guys be able to run the rock. And I know we won't see a lot of Genty, but I do believe we'll see plenty of Mike Washington. I do believe we'll see plenty of Dylan Laube. I believe we have a chance to see plenty of Roman Hemby. Let me just see some holes open up. Let these guys have, a little bit of daylight. I want to see these guys be able to run the rock before, not have to try to get out of the way of a would-be tackler before they even get the ball in their hands. Yeah, that happened. That was last year. I would like to see the offense look like it's an actual real NFL offense. Miller Raider said, "What's up, Q? It's not the scoreboard that's going to determine success tonight, even though that'd be nice to see. It's seeing which guys have the answers to the test. Which guys are going to stand out in game situations? Who's going to climb that ladder and separate themselves on the depth chart at every position? Which players are going to do that? Happy game day, Raider Nation. Miller Raider out." I felt like I was a coach right there. Did I sound like a coach? Did I sound like I was giving that speech in the locker room? Did I not sound like that, Ari?
Yes, you did. Yeah. But you already fired up, so yeah, it just made sense. Yes.
Listen, gentlemen. Listen, gentlemen. Get it. Hey, quiet down there, gentlemen. Listen. It's not the scoreboard that's going to determine success tonight, gentlemen. It would be nice to see, but it's not going to determine success. It's seeing what guys have the answer to the test. What guys are going to stand out in game situations. Who's going to climb that ladder and separate themselves on the depth chart at every single position. I felt like I should have been in a movie right there.
Right, yeah, let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready to take the field and get my.
Can I get just an extras role? I don't need to be. I don't have to be the star of the movie. Can I just walk in and if Stephen A. could go and be like some dude on a soap opera, why can't I just come in and be like Coach for a minute?
There you go. We're gonna bring in.
We're gonna bring in. This guy's gonna come and give a message to the team real quick. We have a guy that we know really well as a friend of the program. He's gonna come in and give a speech. Come on in here, Q. All right, gentlemen, listen up. It's not about the scoreboard tonight. All right, that's not going to determine success. Gentlemen, who's going to have the answers to the test? And you got to look around the room, too. You know what I mean? Like, you got to look every guy in his eye. Which one of you gentlemen are going to stand out in game situations? Who out of all you gentlemen, you fine gentlemen, and even you back there, are going to climb that ladder and separate yourselves on that depth chart at every single position? Who's going to do that, gentlemen? All right, I'm out. Coach, it's all yours. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
And then woo, 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 like the whole locker room erupts.
They'll jump. Yeah, that's my boy, Q. That's my boy. Take that, Stephen A.
That's great. Oh, Lord.
We got like 5 hours of this, ladies and gentlemen, so sit back and enjoy the show. We're going to have a fun time this afternoon.
Mid-season form. Love it.
Hey, Miller Raider set me up, man. We got to hold on to that. We got to hold on to that text for sure. Like, I got so excited, they didn't call security over here.
You're going to end up like Stephen A. in Law & Order.
Man, I'm trying to tell you. That's what it could be. I could get in an episode of Law & Order SVU, and I could come in and just give that. Oh, there you go. I got it. We're on the same page now.
I always tell you, TV.
Yeah, there you go. So is Mama Q. We got one more quick text, and we'll get to Vinny Bonsignore. Q, you know I have viewed the running back and top receiver production as indicators of successful Kubiaking. So I want to see Washington look great. Yeah, hold on. I don't know. Hold on. There's too many initials here going on. I want to see Washington look great. I'm curious about what the primary target for the second team is going to be. since with the starters. It's usually Brock. Mayer is going to play Brock's role with the twos and top receiver when Fernando's in, or is it just going to be Benson and the twos don't really play the same kind of offense as the ones? Oh, man, Zane, you got it all messed up. I don't know if that was you got it messed up. I don't know if that was text to or call or talk to text. I don't know what that was, but it definitely came out a little messed up, and then our text line doesn't help. So we're going to go ahead and try to decipher that. We'll get back to it. I should have left on a high note. I should have left on my my great speech, and I could have just could have called that my claim to fame. But I do want to know, what would you determine as a successful night for the Silver and Black in tonight's preseason action? Let us know on the text line, 702-365-9200. We're here live at Allegiant Stadium. Vinny Bonsignore, he'll join us next. It's RaiderNation Radio 920.
That was the opening drive of Unnecessary Roughness on RaiderNation Radio 920 AM. Brought to you by Paul Padala. It's not about the injury. It's about the recovery.
That's what you guys want to say. I'm just working. I'm trying to get better every day. We are trying to get better every day. It's not about what I do or what I put out there. It's about what we do. It's not one person. It's a whole team. And what I try and do and what we try and do as a team is step out there and get better at one thing every day. We're not looking 5-6 months in the future. I'm not pocket watching. I'm not going to look all over that because that's anxiety and that's something I don't need. And that's something we don't need as a team as well.
It's Unnecessary Roughness. Let's go inside the huddle with Vinny Bonsignore, sponsored by Dos Caras Tequila and presented by the Realty One Group.
And that was Jackson Powers Johnson responding to Vinny Bonsignore's question about this upcoming season and him really taking that step forward and proving to be the guy that the Raiders expected when they drafted him in the second round, now going into 3 seasons ago. And you heard his response right there, and he sounds very focused. He sounds very on track. But now it's about putting in the work. It's Unnecessary Roughness, RaiderNation Radio 920. We're here live at Allegiant Stadium. As you can hear the music in the background, everyone's getting ready for preseason game number 1, Raiders versus Cardinals, kicking off at 5 o'clock. The question that we threw out there to you, what would you determine for a successful night for the Silver and Black in the preseason game number 1? What would it take to determine this a successful night? So we'll ask that question and more to our guy Vinny Bonsignore from the California Post and the Morning Tailgate here on RaiderNation Radio 920, who joins us now. And Vinny, before I get into that question that I just threw out there to Raider Nation, thoughts on Jackson Powers Johnson? You heard again the answer to the question that you asked him, and tonight's game number 1. How big of a step can JPJ take tonight in possibly solidifying that right guard spot?
Yeah, and I think for Jackson, it's so important for him to be able to be out there consistently. In all fairness to him, he hasn't been afforded that because of the injuries. It's been we haven't had a prolonged look at Jackson Powers Johnson. There's always been a lot of starts and stops, delays, ramp ups back to getting ready to get out there and playing. It's just kind of been one thing after another, and so I think the starting point, at least for him tonight, is A, to stay healthy, but B, put some good film out there and show that, he's back to being healthy and he's back to being on track to being a player that the Raiders thought they were getting when they made that draft pick in him, and somebody that they could rely on to be that right guard in a kind of a revamped offensive line, especially with Tyler Linderbaum now at center. So, it's for everybody, for everyone that's going to step on the field. This is a first step in a long season. But for Jackson, just getting back out there after we didn't see him towards the end of last year because of the injury, and playing a good, efficient football game and consistent football game and good, solid film that he's going to put out there.
I know that the unofficial depth chart that we saw earlier this week is probably worth about as much as the paper that is printed on at this stage of the game, but I did find it interesting that Caleb Rogers was on the 2 deep at the left guard position instead of right guard when we've seen him at practice competing at that right guard position. Is there anything to look into that there, or is that just it's a numbers game and they listed him there at the left guard spot? Like, how do you view that?
That's how I took it, and I think that if Jackson, and right now I think based on how the first team reps have been allotted, I would say that Jackson Powers Johnson has gotten the majority of those. I think there is something to read into that, and if the first team offense plays tonight and he runs out there with the first team offense, I think there's something to see in that. And then if that is the case, and if Jackson Powers Johnson stays on track to win the job, then what Rodgers ultimately becomes is a backup for both of those guard positions. So if whether it's Jackson Powers Johnson or Burford goes down, then I would imagine Caleb Rogers would be the backup to both of those positions. So that's probably plays into it a little bit, but otherwise I wouldn't read much into it. Anything. He's definitely one of the players that's in consideration for that right guard spot.
Vinny Bonsignore is with us here at Raider Nation Radio 920 and Necessary Roughness in preparation for preseason game number 1, Raiders versus Cardinals here at Allegiant Stadium where I'm at right now. So I do the question out there to Raider Nation, what would they determine as a successful night for the Raiders? What needs to happen? What do they need to see or hear to determine it as a successful night? What would you or how would you answer that question?
Well, I think first and foremost, if you're looking at it from a coaching perspective and Clint Kubiak's perspective and John Spytek's perspective, first of all, look clean out there. No abundance of penalties and looking disorganized. A smooth operation first and foremost. No injuries is way up there. That probably goes without saying. But a crisp, efficient offensive or just operation on both sides of the ball where it feels like everybody's been coached well, everybody knows what their assignments are, what they're doing, and are pulling it off at a high level. So that's the first thing that I'm gonna look for. From an individual standpoint, it's hard not to sit here and say everybody's not hoping for a great performance from Fernando Mendoza, or at least a glimpse of what this is ultimately going to be all about with him in charge. And we don't know when that's going to happen. This could be one of the over the next 3 weeks, just 3 opportunities to get a look at that before, might be an extended time before we ever get another look at Fernando Mendoza this year. So I think everybody would be hoping for something positive to come out of Fernando's performance. Then you want to see guys like, a Jack Besh take a step forward, a Tonka Hemingway show what all the hype's been about, throughout the offseason. If Ashton Genty plays, show that he's headed in the right direction. That offensive line obviously comes to mind. So there's a lot of different things to look at. I think you were going to see a vanilla defensive game plan, but you want to see some guys flash. You want to see the young secondary players flash. You want to see if the linebackers get out there, make a couple plays when they are on the field. So a guy like Cody Lindenberg, the backup linebacker, who I think has had a strong camp, keeps moving in the right direction. So a lot of those things, a lot of those small details, those small things that I'm talking about, could all add up to a really good night if everybody goes out there and plays well, plays efficient football.
Vinny Bonsignore is with us here at Raider Nation Radio 920. How important do you think this will be for Clint Kubiak to get his first opportunity? I mean, I know everything went down the other night, and it was the first opportunity where he could communicate with the coaches in the booth and everything. But for it to really be a game setting, maybe throw some challenge flags if need be, or just those kind of going through a routine of what an actual game would be. How big is that going to be for the coach?
I think it's huge, and I don't want to overplay it, but I also don't want to underplay it. And I remember having a conversation with Jim Clemens. He was the longtime assistant for Phil Jackson, and he ended up becoming the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks after years of being an assistant coach. And he said, if you measured in inches how far away I was from Phil Jackson when I would sit on the bench, it was just a couple of inches. But you quickly realize that the distance between making suggestions as an assistant coach and making full-on decisions as the head coach, it's miles and miles away. So he's going to get his first opportunity tonight, not just to call plays offensively. He's done that before, obviously, but make the big decisions like whether to go for it on a fourth down, whether to throw the challenge flag, overseeing the team, communicating not just with his offensive assistants, but also with, his defensive assistants. He's going to be, in that communication as well. So a lot of the things that he's just not been privy to because he just hasn't been sitting in the captain's chair yet, he'll be able to experience for the first time tonight. So there's tremendous value in that.
One of the things I'm looking for is the guys that we've been talking about, the young guys like the Malik Bensons, the Hezekiah Masses, the Jamon McCoys. I want them to be able to check the box that we see in practice. I want them to check the box against another opponent. You know what I mean? So it's not just, oh, hey, they're doing really well in training camp and practice, but then they go up against another opponent and you just don't see them. Like you don't look down and say, oh, there's 19 again. That to me is a big deal to see those, especially those young guys that have been catching some noise, and we've been talking about them quite a bit. All of a sudden to do it again, against another opponent in the Cardinals tonight.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and it's always really interesting to me, when the lights go on, who may have been flying a little bit under the radar during practice all of a sudden comes to life because the game is on. There is a real thing, I think, anyway. I think you would agree. There's gamers. There's guys that are just gamers. When those lights go on, they kind of break through. So I'm curious who that person might be tonight, but I'm with you on, I think, it's really important for Malik Benson to now carry what he's done on the practice field into a game. Zeke Masses, everyone that you just mentioned, quite honestly, if they can take what they've been doing in training camp, and there's been a lot of positive work, a lot of strong work by all of those guys, if they can carry that over into the game, that's just further evidence that, okay, you liked what you saw in training camp. Now can that translate into the game? Box check. Yep. Now keep doing it into the next week and the following week and every day, from here on out. And if that can happen, pretty soon you're going to have some pretty good football players out of the young group of players that we're drafting.
Another guy that I was interested in, and as it gets very loud here at Allegiant Stadium, which I'm all for, but DeCam Richardson, I've been talking about him quite a bit. He's in year 3, and Vinny, I pretty much kind of wrote him off before training camp. I thought, all right, well, this might be the last run for DeCam, but he's been playing well in training camp. How much do you think that can translate, and how much can a game like tonight help DeCam, really kind of get that confidence and continue to play at a higher level?
I think for him, even more than most, being able to have some success, in a game, because we have seen him flash sometimes in practice, and then it just doesn't translate to the games when he's got those opportunities in the games. So hopefully for him that happens. Now, one thing I will point out, this is the first year. He's only going into year 3, but if you remember, he went from year 1 to year 2 was 2 different defensive backs coaches. This is the first year that his positional coach carried over. So it's back-to-back seasons with that coach, which makes a lot of difference. He knows what the expectations are. He knows what the role is. It'll probably be very much what it was last year, and so there's not a whole lot of having to relearn a playbook and new techniques and all that, new fundamentals. It's all carried over from last year, and I think that's, at least in my perspective, it's made for a more comfortable DeCamerion. And now again, the next box for him is to take it into an actual game.
And the other thing about DeCam, and even Jamad McCoy had mentioned this the other day, they're playing that press man. They're bumping and running at the line of scrimmage, and both those guys in particular mentioned that's what I'm comfortable playing. And Robbie Leonard's taking over as a DC, so is this part of the new look and the new thumbprint that Robbie Leonard's putting on this defense, seeing these guys be more physical at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, and I like that because when you look at DeCamerion, he kind of fits that to a T. He's a long, lean, fast, very fast, physical type player, and I don't know that he's always been used, to his strengths. Now, granted, I don't know if he actually even played a defensive snap last year. It was mostly on
special teams. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but even the year before, I don't think that he was used the way you would have thought that he would have been used in the times that he did get on the field. So that would be, I think, great for him because I think the physical profile fits that kind of that kind of a scheme and what he's being asked to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to happen in a matter of hours. We're here early, but we're excited. Preseason game number 1, Raiders Cardinals, 5 p.m. kickoff, of course, here on RaiderNation Radio 920. Vinny, great stuff as always. What are you working on, my man, that we should be on the lookout for?
Well, I will be writing observations off of tonight's game, so keep a lookout for that. And then next week we'll be in Houston. Can't wait to get a look at them against the Texans, not only in the preseason game, but also that joint practice on Tuesday. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. It's going to tell you a lot about this team going up against those big nasties on the defensive line of the Houston Texans. There's no doubt about that. Great stuff, Vinny. Thanks so much, my man. Appreciate you.
All right, have a great time and enjoy the game.
Oh, I will. Vinny Bonsignore right there from the California Post and, of course, the morning tailgate here on RaiderNation Radio 920. Great stuff from Vinny, and Great way of navigating through all the sound that we've got going on, popping off here at Allegiant Stadium. But, hey, I'm right here in the thick of things. I might as well be sitting at the 50-yard line. I might as well be sitting at the 50-yard line. I mean, I just about am. I'm actually at the 35 right now. I'm just up in the booth. But, yeah, man, this is fantastic, and everybody's getting ready for what we will see tonight, Raiders versus Cardinals. So for you, what would you determine a successful night for the Raiders in preseason action in game number 1? Let us know your thoughts. 702-365-9200. Live from Allegiant Stadium. We hear from you next. It's RaiderNation Radio 920.
Young blood's got no sense of history.
Before the show tonight, we just got to figure this out. He said, if y'all, anybody got black, just bring black, man. When we showed up, I'm Raider down because I was a fan of the LA Raiders anyway, so that's the black I had was Raider stuff. So, everybody started buying the Raider gear in the group, and it just looked right.
You're listening to Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. Brought to you by Meineke, doing car care right.
I was on hold.
Nice.
I was ready to go, and then when it came time to say it, I don't know how you guys do it, man. You're amazing.
It happens to me all the time. Don't feel bad.
Now you got me laughing. I forgot what I was going to say.
That happens to me too.
What I want to see tonight is a clean football game. Limited penalties, limited mental errors. Just play a clean game. I don't really care about the score, but I want to see them to play clean. And you've been asking, what do you want to see for this season? You know what I'd really like? On game day, when I wake up in the morning and I'm having my coffee and my little pug dog Cheez-It is sitting on my lap, I don't want to look at my dog and say, hey, Cheez-It, you going to help me watch the Raiders lose today? I want the Raiders to be competitive enough that on game day I feel like, we might actually win a game today. That would be awesome if the Raiders would win,
Yep.
So, one more thing. Everybody wants Mendoza to start. So I looked up a couple stats just to throw out there for you guys. First-time head coaches have a 60% chance of failure. First-round quarterbacks also have a 60% chance of failure. Maybe it's not such a good idea to throw both of those guys out there at the same time. Maybe since we're in Vegas, let's play the odds a little bit. Let everybody get their feet underneath them and get themselves, get everything else set before we put Mendoza out there. I don't care if it's at the bye. That would be fine. I don't care if it's next year. It would not be the worst thing to happen to us if we got one more year of a really nice high draft pick. And I want to win every game that we see. I don't ever want to watch the Raiders lose a game. But you know what? If it will help us win for the next 10 years straight, I wouldn't mind having, another really high pick. Anyway, you do a great job, Q. I don't know when you sleep. I don't know if you sleep. But I love every minute. I listen to every minute. So have a great day, man. Thank you guys so much for everything you do.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Raider 27, really good call, man. Appreciate the feedback, the breakdown, and, hey, want to be competitive throughout the course of the year. And look, I'm right there with you. I want everyone to come to the torch when they come to these games here at Allegiant and be fired up and excited and not look at me and say, well, what do you think? Instead, they're like, man, let's go. This is going to be, man, the Raiders are going to get this one. There's so many times when, people give me that look and say, well, what do you think? All right, now what do you really think? You know what I mean? It's just so there's so much doubt so many times, and, Raider Nation still shows up and has a good time, and everyone has a big smile on their face at the torch when they arrive. I want everyone to be able to roll out of this place with a smile on their face when they're leaving, right? Don't just have a smile on your face when you get to the torch. Have a smile on your face when you're passing the torch on your way out and you're about to go and hang out and have a good time and go have a celebration dinner or whatever you're going to do, whatever the next adventure brings you. But you're happy about that. You're fired up about that because, well, you just watched your team pick up a nice W. Like the Raiders need to be, and I've said this so many times and I'll continue to say it, they need to find a way to consistently win in the place I'm at right now. This is a beautiful building. beautiful building, one of the best in the league, but it's not a beautiful home field advantage until they start winning, until they start realizing that, hey, you need to be able to, bring Raider Nation to this building, and Raider Nation understand that they're going to see their team consistently win. And if they lose, it's actually a surprise, whereas it hasn't been that way since this building has been open. Hour number 2 is on the way. Bo Brack, Cardinals reporter, will tell us what to look for when it comes to all things Arizona. That's next here on Unnecessary Roughness on RaiderNation Radio 920.
Adam Butler with that pass pad right there. Quick toss. Amari Demercado, man in the backfield. And it is Max Crosby with the takedown. This is the Raiders offense that was dead last in rushing a year ago in the NFL. Geno Smith towards the end zone, back shoulder, and he's got it. And there's a touchdown for the Las Vegas Raiders. How about it?
It's Unnecessary Roughness. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right. Here's your boy Q.
As we kick off hour number 2 of the show, live from Allegiant Stadium, we hear the sounds of the Raiders and Cardinals 2025 preseason game right there, and we will see the Raiders and Cardinals 2026 preseason game in a matter of hours here at Allegiant Stadium, where I sit. It's Unnecessary Roughness here on RaiderNation Radio 920. But what will we see from the Arizona Cardinals? They had the Hall of Fame game last Thursday, took on the Carolina Panthers, saw a really good Carson Beck. We won't see him tonight. We do know that. But what will we see from the Cardinals? We bring in our good friend Bo Brack, Cardinals reporter and host of PHNX Cardinals podcast. And, Bo, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate you. Off top, how's the circle pool treating you, man? I hear that you're maxing and relaxing, chilling right now.
I mean, we're just taking it, maxing out our ability to be here in your guys' great city here and enjoy all the pleasantries that it has to offer before Cardinals hit the gridiron for a second time this preseason. I mean, it kind of got the mood dampened that we won't get to kind of see if Carson Beck can repeat that performance that he had last week.
Was that surprising to find that out? Like, did you know that he had suffered some injury and wasn't going to play?
Not at all. And, I mean, I feel like a bad reporter in doing so, but, I mean, he suffered the injury apparently on this first drive where he had a little run on third down and played the remainder of the first half into the second half, and then continued to practice all of last week. So it was a huge surprise to see that Beck is going to be sidelined today with just some rib soreness. As it's been confirmed, this is not something to be taken seriously. It's just extremely precautionary.
It was probably on that run that he had where he dove head first, because when he did that dive, I said, man, that's a guy who wants to be the starting quarterback there in Arizona, a guy who's doing that in the Hall of Fame game. What do you think about that? I know Jacoby Brissett's there. I know Minshew's there. But is there a chance this season, in your opinion, that Carson Beck could be the starting quarterback?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I think he's got the extreme ability to start this season. Week 1, I think that's where the conversation, I think you can table that for the time being. We're going to see Jacoby Brissett probably get a series, maybe 2 tonight, and it's going to be important for him to show that he can produce in this offense like Beck did last week. But, you know, it's going to be really important for, you know, Carson Beck to take advantage of his opportunities going forward. I think he'll be in there next week and then the week after that. But, you know, when is he going to start? It's not a question if, it's when. And you start to kind of forecast the season. It's like, okay, I think the first opportunity could come week 4 because this schedule is a meat grinder. You play 3 playoff teams to start. Jacoby Brissett went 1-11. You can say, hey, I take exception with quarterback win-loss record, but if he goes from 1-11 to 1-14, it's going to be tough to keep deploying him and not seeing what you have with Beck with a big quarterback class coming in 2027.
Bo Brack, Cardinals reporter, host of PHNX Cardinals podcast, is with us here, RaiderNation Radio 920. So we know we won't see Beck, but what are you expecting to see? This is the second preseason game for the Cardinals. So what is it that you're going to be looking at the most in tonight's game?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about surprises. I was surprised when Michael Flohr announced to us just a couple of days ago that the starters were going to play. So we're going to see Jacoby Brissett. We're going to see, you know, Jeremiah Love. I don't know if he comes out with the ones. Tyler Algier could certainly do that. But you're going to see some sort of representation as far as what their top backfield's going to look like. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, and then the defense, which you didn't see even the backups play last week, where I think everybody's going to get some run. Probably not a lot, but it's going to be a little bit of a dress rehearsal for these guys. So you get to kind of see what they're about in this new offense in a continuation of a defense that performed extremely poorly last last year. Can they bounce back? But, I mean, all eyes are going to be on 7 and Brissett. And then, of course, I mean, it's no, consolation that you get to watch Jeremiah Love potentially play football. The 3rd overall pick has looked the part and just as electric as he did at Notre Dame previous 2 seasons. So excited to see him get up and running.
What does he look like so far in training camp? And the reason I ask is because we were all fired up about Ashton Genty last year, high draft pick. We know what he did at Boise State. And then, because the Raiders' offensive line wasn't very good, he wasn't able to, have the season that all of us expected. What does it look like so far with Jeremiah Love?
Yeah, I mean, he looks every bit explosive as he did with the Golden Domers back there. There's a difference when you see him take the handoff than you do even with Algier, who's a very productive back in his own right, who signed a nice deal for himself this offseason before the drafting of Love. But you see, and James Conner, who's been productive as well. I don't expect to see Conner, but you know what he's done previous to his injury-plagued season last year, 4 years in a row, over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. But you see the fresh legs from Love. You see the athleticism, the explosiveness, and then just kind of the versatility. Like, this is a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. And he just kind of looks every bit of the guy that you take that risk of taking a running back that high. And I think that the offensive line, Q, I mean, I think it's a fair thing to say, hey, I don't know if the Cardinals, could it be a sequel to what the Raiders experienced last year? I think the offensive line's a little bit better set up than it was with the Raiders last year. Paris Johnson Jr. seems to be a franchise left tackle. They added Isaac Seumalo to the left guard spot. They've got a solid center. The only question is the right tackle spot. I think he should be set up at least to run the ball, and it's not just, hey, every defender meet in the backfield and blow up every run play. I think he should have a better chance.
What do you look for in the Cardinals defense? I mean, now it's not, the Jonathan Gannon show. Now it's LaFleur is in the building, and he's obviously an offensive-minded coach. What are your thoughts on the defense for the Cardinals in general?
I mean, they're keeping Nick Rallis, who was the DC for a team that gave up a franchise-worst 488 points last year. It's continuity, but is that the continuity you want? I mean, at this point last year, Q, Rallis was kind of looked as a fast riser as far as the coaching ranks. Could he get, maybe some head coaching looks, and that completely just fell apart? Can he get back on that track? Gannon not being there, is that an addition by subtraction for him? But they're healthy, I mean, I think if Walter Nolan, who's been banged up through training camp, can go, he's on the interior of the defensive line. He can be a game wrecker, but his big question is, can he stay healthy? And if he can, I mean, that's going to set up, the rush and cover aspect of all of this, and it should put them in a better position. But what we saw in the Hall of Fame game without any kind of significant defensive, guys playing was a continuation. They need to show the ability to get off the field, at least in a short sample size tonight, to maybe put this fan base at ease a little bit after what they witnessed at the end of last season.
Bo Brack is with us here on RaiderNation Radio 920 and Necessary Roughness. Not that it's ever, a lot of game planning for a preseason game, but the fact that the Raiders do play the Cardinals later on in the season, how much less do you think is going to be shown tonight just to kind of not give the Raiders any kind of implication of what this team could look like?
Yeah, I don't expect much. I mean, they've admitted and been very transparent that they don't game plan for these preseason games. They're not watching any film. I mean, LaFleur admitted it's like they got a new DC in Vegas, and he hasn't watched any of his tape. We're going to go out there and run our plays, make our calls on defense, and just like how the chips fall, they're just going to go with that. So I don't know. I would just take it as far as, what you can learn about the players from a case-by-case basis. One would maybe just some eyes on their own. Like if Mendoza plays tonight, like he could very well be playing, late in the season when these two teams match back up in Glendale, Arizona. So, I mean, I think there's a little bit you can glean from it, but man, we're a long way away from that. So I wouldn't expect it to play a big role.
Again, Bo Brack is with us here at RaiderNation Radio 920. So in general, when you look at this team, and I had this described to me before, that the game plan that the Raiders had this offseason when they went out and spent a lot of money in free agency and really overhauled the team is what the Cardinals could potentially do next year. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, you see that. I mean, it's a long sludge of a 17-game season to get through to kind of say, hey, our eyes are on the future. But there is pressure for this team to bounce back and show at least some feistiness and competitiveness that was not there last year in order to keep guys employed. We talked about Nick Rawls, the defensive coordinator. The general manager who's in place, he's in his fourth year as well. He's got with Jonathan Gannon exiting, he leaves at 15-36. Monty Austinford, the GM, has the ability to continue to add that. And, he has to be able to point the needle back in the right direction and kind of thread it. It's a tough needle to thread as far as, being competitive, but also being in a spot to potentially make a significant investment either in the draft at the quarterback position or wherever you can this next offseason. So it's a really it's a tightrope walk that I don't think anybody would envy in as far as the NFL. Their win total, Q, it's at 3.5 here as far as the odd makers go. I think that they should be able to hit the over on that, but not by much. There's not this is a team that's not favored in any of their 17 games this upcoming season, but the talent that they've drafted in the last 3 to 4 off seasons needs to show something in order for people to stick around in the desert.
Well, we'll close out with this. Fantastic stuff as always. Obviously, no Carson Beck. We know Jeremiah Love. Is there anyone else that we need to be on the lookout for? Anyone else that you're, really excited to see in game number 2 this evening?
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're excited to see what Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to look like in this new offense. A lot of people pointed to the previous play calling as something that didn't fit his play style, and he's been getting open a lot in training camp and finding some wide open grass spaces where he's been able to use that big athletic frame to make some plays. Is that going to be on display for, a few series tonight? And then I think on the defensive side, you talk about Walter Nolan. The other guy that was drafted high in the 2025 draft was Will Johnson. And he's a guy that's if he can stay healthy, you would just assume he can make an impact. And just had a real quiet rookie season, probably one that he wishes he could have made a few more plays in. He's healthy. Let's look for number 2 now. Can he get his hands on some ball? Can he get some PBUs? Will Johnson, somebody that is kind of under the radar, but people should have some sort of, cautious optimism about.
We'll definitely be checking him out, and obviously you'll be here sooner rather than later. Once you enjoy your time there at the Circle Pool. Don't rush here, man. Enjoy your time, and then we'll see you here inside Allegiant Stadium. Bo, great stuff as always, my man. Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Always, man. I appreciate you as well, and talk to you soon.
All right, my man. I'll see you here. Bo Brack right there, Cardinals reporter, host of Phoenix Cardinals podcast with us here, RaiderNation Radio 920. So, unfortunately, no Carson Beck. I would have liked to seen him. Jeremiah Love, I'm not sure how much he's going to play, but it's interesting to see what he looks like as a running back that was taken very high in this year's draft. And, all the conversation that they had around Ashton Jeanty. Can the Arizona Cardinals, who, as Bo just said, is, they're expected to win, 3.5 games? That's not a whole lot. So are they ready for a top-flight running back? Because remember everything that we heard, the Raiders weren't a year ago when they drafted Ashton Jeanty. So we'll see how it goes with the Cardinals. I do look forward to seeing Jeremiah Love here, though, on this on the grass here at Allegiant Stadium. I do want to hear from you as well. 702-365-9200. We got Louis Riddick from ESPN coming up in about 15 minutes or so to talk all things Hezekiah Masses and just the young dudes on this Raiders team, the draft picks that the Raiders came away with, the direction that this team is going. What would you determine tonight as a successful night for the Silver and Black in preseason action number 1 against the Arizona Cardinals? 702-365-9200. Before we go out to the phone lines, and we will go out to the phone lines and got a bunch of really good texts as well, I did want you to hear from Dan Orlovsky from ESPN, a guy that was very critical of Fernando Mendoza in the draft process, a guy that talked about Ty Simpson quite a bit in the draft process. But this is what he had to say this morning about what he wanted to see from Fernando in particular.
What would you want to see if you're the Raiders tonight when evaluating Fernando Mendoza?
Ease. This is the game that interests me the most. Ease for Fernando Mendoza. Ease getting in and out of the huddle, something that he did not do in college. Ease at the line of scrimmage, handling all the formations, the shifts, the motions that Clint Kubiak is going to put him under, handling with ease, being underneath the center. What does it look like when he drops back underneath center, gets a ball fake, puts his back foot in the ground and tries to see the defense? We just didn't see a lot of, if any of that, when he was with Indiana in college. And then kind of the next step would be for me, if it doesn't go great. Like if he has a little bit of moment where there's a lack of comfort in it, how does he handle that? What's his poise like? And so I think tonight is just, if I'm Clint Kubiak, I want to get him comfortable, get him going, but then I want to stress him a little bit just to see how he reacts. But ease, if I was a Raiders fan, I just want to see it come easy to him.
There you go. Dan Orlovsky talking about he wants to see everything come pretty easy. And look, nothing's going to be easy, so it's going to be, it's not going to be I'm trying to think of the best way to word it. Nothing's going to be easy, but he just wants to see it where it looks like it's not thinking. That's basically how he's wording it. And from that standpoint, I can agree with that. And I remember when training camp started where it was he looked like he was thinking about, his steps coming out from under center. Just, that's what it looked like. But then you saw it look like he got more comfortable. I guess that's the best way to put it. It seemed like he got a lot more comfortable pretty quickly when it came to Fernando Mendoza. So I don't know how easy everything's going to look or how much ease he's going to have. There's going to be some butterflies, I'm sure, as well. So, maybe the first couple plays that he has, he might, be a little, I won't say nervous, but you might see a little butterflies. That's expected. I heard someone talking about that the other day, and I hate that I forget who it was that was talking about it, but they said if you're not nervous, then how much do you actually care, right? Because when you're doing something and you want to do it at the highest level, you do tend to get a little bit nervous. You do get a little bit anxious, and that just shows that you care, right? If you go into it, you're just kind of nonchalant, like, hey, no big deal, unless you're just the super pro, right? It just, I think that's natural. So, I know that Fernando cares. I know that he's going to put everything into it that he has, and that's just what it's going to be. So, I would caution, I guess the whole point of what I'm saying is I would caution of, well, he didn't look fantastic. Like, I wouldn't overreact if it doesn't look super smooth right away, like Dan Orlovsky is trying to break down, like, look ease. If it doesn't look like he was so super comfortable, well, there's reasons for that, right? Because, again, it's something that is all brand new, and it's all part of the process. There's reason why they play 3 of these bad boys before they get to the regular season. 702-365-9200. Let's go out to the phone lines, talk to a very patient Money Mitch. Money Mitch, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Q, Ari, how you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Catch you if you can, like the movie, I Caught You.
You all right?
I know that's right. You're not a movie buff. It's okay.
Exactly.
Movie. And say that the Rudy speech there to Game Time. Then I love you to pump them up. Looking forward to that. I don't know if I can see the game tonight. It's on ESPN Unlimited. That may be a play on words. Unlimited might be limited to who pays more for your cable services. But maybe I can follow the box score and all that. I'm looking forward. See our young guys, how we do. The next Darrell Russell. I'm always looking for the next one. Next Drake London or somebody, Amon St. Brown. And, of course, well, Marcus Allen would be too much to ask for. I'll go for Justin Fargas. And most of all, I want to see just a half a game, Fernando Mendoza, Carson Palmer 2.0. You can tie this all together, Q. Love you. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thanks so much, Money Mitch. Definitely appreciate you, man. And, yeah, look, I mean, you start dropping some big-time names like that. I mean, like this, it's way too early in the process to talk about some of those big names, right? Let's see what these guys could do. This is preseason game number 1. You're going to see some guys emerge to be some big-time players. But, I mean, you're talking about some big names that you just threw out there. But always appreciate hearing from you, Money Man. Thanks so much for the call, 702-365-9200. Let's see. Jason said, Fernando needs to be effortless. Send. So I'm assuming that was voice to text right there from Jason. Hot Sauce Raider said, Q, what we need to see is effort, execution, excellence. We need Mendoza to make a statement that he belongs in the league by throwing 2 touchdowns. Also, we need everyone to finish the game healthy. Go Raiders. Yeah, health is huge. Health is huge. And, look, I wouldn't get overworked if he doesn't throw 2 touchdowns, right? Because, I mean, what's the flow of the game look like? How many drives is he in? What if they score 2 touchdowns but their guys on the ground, running the rock? There's so many ways that this could come about. I wouldn't, put a certain number on it. I just want it to look like it's a sense of a good offense. I want to make it. I want to see, a team that looks like they are going in the right direction. You could tell that this is going to be a good offense. This is not going to be a team that's going to average 14 points per game. That's what I want to see, right? And I would like to see the offensive line open up some holes for the run game. Obviously, protect the quarterback, whoever's out there, whether it's Cousins, whether it's Mendoza, O'Connell. If Jacob Clark gets into action, I want to see the offensive line start to come together against someone else who's not wearing their colors. That's important to me. So I wouldn't get caught up in exactly how many touchdowns are thrown or how many are scored. Like I said earlier, scoreboard doesn't matter. It's really what you do and how you go about handling your business. Let's see. Brent hit us up. Success tonight would not be allowing any sacks, maybe a rushing touchdown or two, and at least one interception. I know it might be a lot to ask, maybe at least 2 of those 3. Go Raiders. So there you go. Hey, look, the interceptions are right up my alley. I would love to see that as well. Now, that's not something that you can, plan for or guarantee is going to happen, but, man, it sure would be nice knowing that that's something that they've been trying to emphasize in training camp is not only breaking up the ball but also coming away with the interception. I would love to see a pick or the defense coming up with a turnover, getting the ball back to their offense. That's the most important thing. That would be really cool. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate it. Tom in Boise said, I'm not asking for much. No injuries, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a W. Let's go Raiders. Tom in Boise. Yeah, not asking for a lot at all. Nothing much there. My man's asking for 28 points scored. 28 for a team that averaged 14 points per game last year. Boy, now, Ari, you said it earlier. If the Raiders go out there and have a hell of a game, it's going to be a huge overreaction tomorrow. Yes. If the Raiders were to go out there and score 4 touchdowns tonight, I mean, the show will write itself on Aloha Friday. I will do nothing. All I'll do is show up to the show and say, phone line's open, how you feeling? And overreaction would just flow.
Yes.
That would be insane. And that would be a super overreaction if the Raiders were able to do something like that.
I'll add in, depending on who gets these 4 touchdowns, too, and then that player would just be, the GOAT.
Yeah.
There we go.
My goodness.
We don't need any wide receivers. We got fill in the blank. But
yeah, it'd be something like, like 21 points would be scored in the 4th quarter. It'd be like Shedrick Jackson would get a touchdown, and like Roman Hemby scores a touchdown, and like
Dylan Lobby,
something like that, and not any shade at those guys, but I mean, still, it would be, oh man, I knew that Shedrick Jackson was the man. I knew that, and that's, I can see that. I can see that as well. That would be funny, but that's a good one. But my man said, I'm not asking for too much. I love it. Sir Whiskey Ray said, happy Thursday, gentlemen. Great topic today. I'm going to have to chime in and say, if our offensive line could dominate, control the clock, and the offense score a few touchdowns, I'll take it. As for the defense, I'd like to see at least 4 3-and-outs. Most importantly, come away healthy. Fingers crossed here. Thanks as always, gentlemen. Appreciate it. On my way to the airport, heading to Vegas. Cheers to Whiskey Ray. Happy birthday, Ari. Time to party. That's right. Happy birthday, Ari. Got that email earlier today from the powers that be at the radio station.
Oh, yeah.
It's Ari's birthday today. There you go. 21 years old, finally.
Yeah. I'm going to be drinking tonight for the first time ever. Yes. 21.
You're coming to the game, aren't you?
But I am going to be at the game. That is the first time ever. So, yeah, I'm beyond excited. It is I will just say, no matter win or lose, it'll be a great time. But, a win would be a nice little birthday gift. Just saying, Raiders. You got me. I know you got me.
I mean, look, it's a preseason game, so it doesn't have necessarily wins and losses don't really matter. But you do want to see some good play.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key is just see some good play. See, these guys go out there and compete. You like to see Mendoza get a little burn. To be honest, I know nobody cares, at least from the response that we've gotten so far. I'd like to see Kirk Cousins go out there and look good.
That's a great point.
I'd like to see Kirk Cousins go and have an opening drive and get down the field and then get out, right? If he goes, I think he's going to get 1 to 2 drives, right? But if he gets the first drive, goes right down the field and scores a touchdown, okay, good. What else is there to see? You know what I mean? Nobody's talking about I'd like to see Kirk Cousins this, but reality is that that's the starting quarterback until he's not. So I would like to see him have some sense of, okay, this is what it looks like. And I know a lot of people don't believe that he's going to be worth the salt because he's older. And last time we saw him here on this field at Allegiant Stadium, he didn't look that great. I think he's a lot healthier than he was then. I really do. And if he's healthy, like I believe he's healthy, I actually think he could be a really good quarterback and actually help this team win games. It's not like he's some scrub, right? He's not some guy that all of a sudden just had 1 year of success in the league. I mean, he's had some good years. He's thrown for a lot of yards. And when he went down in Minnesota with the Achilles. If I'm correct, what were they, 6-1 at the time? No, seriously, like I believe they were like 6-1. They had a really good record when he went down. And I'm not saying he's going to throw back the clock and be that same guy. But if he can have success like he had around that time, you could be onto something. And I've said before, I care a lot about wins this year. I know everyone doesn't care a lot about wins. I do. I don't think it's just about developing Mendoza. I think it's developing a team, a concept of winning, and an organization that expects to win, not a team that is surprised when they win. So I'd like to see Kirk Cousins opening drive, take it down the field and score a touchdown. That's what I'd like to see. That'd be a successful night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As They Not Like Us is being played in the stadium right now, and the instruments on stage. Yeah, it's great. Dun, 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 dun. They not like us. They not like us. Man, hold up now. They not like us. They not like us. Man, come on now. I'm in the zone. All right, well, 702-365-9200. Keep that feedback coming. What would you determine a successful night for the Raiders in preseason action number 1? 702-365-9200. Ari, I know you've got winning on the way. You want to do that later or you want to do it now?
Yeah, I'll do it the next hour.
All right, we'll do it the next hour. We've got Louis Riddick, ESPN, joining us next. We're live at Allegiant Stadium. It's RaiderNation Radio 920.
What I like so far about myself is just me just going out there, just playing confidence, just my team just pushing me every day, and I'm just being the best version of myself. Yeah, man, just being with the ones, truly just a blessing. I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and just my teammates just pushing me every day and just the coaches trusting me every day. I'm just super excited, man. It feels so unreal, man. My first preseason game, I'm just happy for the opportunity, and I'm just ready to play for Thursday.
Right now, we're doing football right on Unnecessary Roughness. Brought to you by Meineke, doing car care right.
And the way we do football right as we're here at Allegiant Stadium in preparation for preseason game number 1, the Raiders and the Cardinals, is we talk about Hezekiah Masses, who you heard on the way in, the 5th-round pick out of Cal, number 175 overall. And he's a guy that Louis Riddick from ESPN had tweeted out not too long ago. Sounds like another one of my guys is impressing early on. And Raiders training camp had this to say about him during the draft 3 months ago, and it was a lot of really good reviews saying he will be playing on Sundays. Louis Riddick from ESPN joins us now here on the phone lines. And Louis, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you. Hezekiah Masses has been everything that you expected and then some so far in training camp. We get to see him against another opponent tonight. But what was it about Masses that stood out to you that made you a believer on him early on?
Just, playing corner is – obviously you have to have tremendous physical skills, but there's also a mental and a technical component to the position that really separates, average to good to great to, exceptional. And I thought his technique was exceptional as far as foot quickness, body control, keeping his pads down, efficiency of his transition, the way he finished on the football, how tough, how aggressive he was. He could play man or zone. He was just always locked in. He was always around the ball. He was always strong at the catch point. And I was going, what the hell am I missing with this guy? Like, what am I missing here? Why in the scouting community and even in the, I understand why sometimes, in the media will by and large, we'll miss guys like this who aren't talked about on a national scale. But that doesn't excuse the fact that for me, he was just so damn good. And I was thinking, look, whoever gets him, you're going to be getting a kid who I think early on in training camp and in preseason games in particular, he's going to shine, man. He's going to shine. And it just sounded like, and listening to the reports from out there, I can remember back as a player thinking right from the get-go in training camp, do something to make them remember you. Do something to make the coaching staff and the scouting department, when they go back upstairs in the offices at night, talk about me. Make them talk about me. Make them talk about how I need to get more reps. It sounds like he did that from jump, and I love it. I love every bit of it.
Yeah, he has done that. The passing game coordinator, Joe Woods, said the other day he has Denzel Ward-type traits where he can cover, right? And physicality is going to be a question, but even when the pads came on, Louis, he looks very much comfortable being physical as well. How much do you think that's going to play a role in these games, these preseason games?
Look, it always does because, look, one, obviously the number one thing that you need corners to do is cover, okay? They need to be able to play all the different disciplines that you ask a corner to play. Like I said, press off, man zone, you need to be able to do that. But you need to be able to finish strong on the football against some of these monsters that you're going to play against in the NFL. And in particular, they got a bunch of them in the AFC West. And I think you also, as a corner, you're going to be playing gunner on punt team. You're going to be playing out on the vice on punt return. You're probably going to play, a 1 or a 2 on the outside on kickoff team. These are all positions that you then have to have a certain level of physicality, and that's what separates you. That's what separates you as a corner. That's what definitely separates you as a young guy when you show up for training camp. Every scouting department, every coaching staff likes the guy who's not afraid of contact. I don't care what the position is. Everybody likes that guy. And that's something that Masses showed on tape in college. He's showing it now. So it doesn't surprise me. Guys who are hitters, guys who are physical, they've been physical their whole life. It's nothing new to them. It seems like it's nothing new to him.
Louis Riddick from ESPN is with us here on RaiderNation Radio 920. And, you played for the organization. You know what it's all about to be a corner with the Raiders. And it's been a while since they've had that guy see ball, get ball. To me, he looks like he could be that guy. And then you add Jamad McCoy on the other side, as long as he's healthy. It looks like the Raiders could have a new secondary for a long time. What do you think about just getting back to playing Raider football?
Yeah. Look, man, I was fortunate enough during my time to play with Eric Allen and Charles Woodson. And Albert Lewis had transitioned to safety at that time. But between EA and Charles, it doesn't get any better than that. And all the times of, seeing Lester Hayes come around and how much I revere guys like Mike Haynes. I mean, these are legends, absolute legends, all of them, every guy that I just mentioned. And so, that's something that has been synonymous with Raider football. It's something that in the modern game you have to have that position locked down. And quite honestly, you've had to have that position locked down since the beginning of time, or rather over the past 30, 40 years with the way that the game is played at the NFL level. So if you don't have it, you're going to be in trouble. Jamad McCoy, were it not for the questions surrounding his long-term availability, like how many years is he going to be able to play? And obviously that was a big debate heading into the draft. Were it not for that, Jamad was the best corner in the draft from A to Z, as far as, again, a guy who had size, speed, fundamental soundness in terms of everything that he did from start to finish within a down. He would hit. He could finish on the ball. He played big-time football in the SEC against some of the best players in the country. There were no holes in his game to me. There were no holes. The only hole and the only question was just his availability long-term. And if you can get two kids like this, and Jamad can kind of like outplay whatever is going to happen, and whatever ultimately is going to be the situation with his knee, then. Look, John Spytek is a good friend of mine, and he and his scouting department have nailed this. They've nailed it. I haven't been this excited about a Raider draft class and what, their young guys that they drafted, how I felt about them coming into the draft in a long time. So I think it's a fun time to be a Raider fan. Look, it's always a good time to be a Raider fan, but there's a lot of optimism. There should be a lot of optimism surrounding the direction of this franchise right now.
Yeah, and Raider Nation shares those same feelings that you just mentioned. Again, Louis Riddick is with us here on Raider Nation Radio 920. I did want to ask you about another guy that's been making some noise in training camp. That's Malik Benson, the wide receiver out of Oregon, 6th-round pick. He was at Alabama as well. What did you see from him in the scouting process?
Malik is just an alpha competitor, and he showed that at Oregon. I got to see him at Oregon in the CFP this past year. And he stepped up when they had injuries out there to become a guy who was a go-to guy for Dante Moore. He's got speed, route running ability, body control, can make contested catches, run after the catch, can produce the explosives. He's going to be a contributor on special teams. Not afraid. He's just a football player. He's not a wide receiver. He's a football player. that plays wide receiver. And so to hear that he has made plays every single day, again, make them remember me. Make them talk about me in the staff meetings every night. For a kid who comes in, you know, as a sixth-round pick, that's exactly what you have to do. I don't care how much people say, you know, well, this guy shouldn't have slid to this round. He's a bar. Whatever. The fact of the matter is you don't get as many reps. You don't get as many opportunities early on. And the ones you get, you better make them remember you. He's made them remember him. And that's, again, you know, you draft traits. You draft, hopefully, guys who have high competitive character when you're talking about 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, day 3 guys. Again, they've nailed it. They've nailed it with those 2 guys that we talked about so far, Masses and Malik. I love them both. As a matter of fact, Malik was my pick. Even though I kind of struggled picking between these 2 guys, I put out a list every year of guys who are non-first rounders that I think will be significant contributors by year 2 or 3, potentially be starters and difference makers. Malik was the guy who I put on the list for the Raiders, although I struggled because there was just so many guys that I liked as far as who they had picked. I could have I thought Trayden Stukes was the best safety in the draft. In many respects, the best combination safety nickel defender in the draft. So, as far as like the guys that they picked this year, it really was fun talking about their draft class, and Malik is just another example of that.
Louis Riddick from ESPN is with us here, RaiderNation Radio 920. Well, it'd be wrong if I didn't close out asking about Fernando Mendoza. He's the guy that RaiderNation's fired up about, quarterback of the future. This is step 1 tonight in the preseason game, but what should we be looking for from Fernando just as he gets into this NFL quarterback thing?
You just want to see him have command of all 11 guys on the field, obviously, including himself on his side of the football. You just want to see the process and the operation be smooth, get the play call, communicate the play call, get up to the line of scrimmage, don't be fighting the play clock. When he gets up under center, you want to see him be comfortable, pre-snap reads, footwork coming away from center, ball handling, getting through progressions, all the things that he has been maniacal about ever since he pretty much knew that the Raiders were going to take him, and that he has dedicated himself to try and learn and get comfortable with because of how different his offense was at Indiana. That's what you want to see. Is it going to be perfect? No, of course not. But I have never been, he's as impressive as a guy when you talk to him as far as his dedication to the craft, his dedication to perfecting all the different things that come along with, the job of playing quarterback as anyone I've seen. And he is, when I got to meet him at his pro day, man, the time we spent talking, we interviewed him on air, got to talk to Kirk for a little bit, Signetti, about him, and he said, look, the number one thing that you're going to be impressed about with him is, forget all the other stuff that he did on tape and all the different things he showed as a quarterback. You're going to be impressed at just how competitive he comes across when you ask him about his process that he believes that he needs to follow in order to be great and maximize his abilities. You're going to see a dedication, a level of dedication and a commitment to it unlike anything you've ever seen. And people kind of, because of his personality and how much he smiles and how just straightforward and always just seems like willing to want to open up and talk to you about, what's going on with him. People kind of mistake that, for kindness and maybe not being someone who's a true alpha. But he said, this dude is as good of a competitor as I've ever been around. And Kurtzen, that he's been around some of the best, considering all the different stops that he's been at. And that was the number one thing I took away from my time around him and the people at Indiana. I expect, that you'll see that play out as his career progresses here. And I just have a feeling that, you'll see him sooner rather than later. And look, I really do like what's going on with him, what's going on with that quarterback room. I really love Kirk Cousins, but I think in due time, maybe sooner rather than later, unless Tom or whoever or Clint and those guys out there decide that they just don't want Fernando on the field, I think you're going to have a tough time keeping him off the field. I really have a lot of respect for that young man.
Yeah, I do as well, and I'm excited to see what it looks like, and we get a first taste test tonight, preseason action against the Cardinals. Lewis, fantastic stuff as always. You know it's always great catching up with you. Anytime that you're going to be out here soon calling a Raider game, should we expect to see you anytime soon?
I don't know if they'll see me anytime soon. We've got our schedule this year as far as what we're doing game-wise. But I'll tell you what, I will be following Raider Nation very, very, very closely. Because you know what they say. You know what they say. Once a Raider, always a Raider. That's not just an acronym. That's for real. And it couldn't be more true for me. So I hope the team just kicks ass all year.
Yes, and we do as well. Lewis, it's always great. You kick ass all the time. We appreciate your analysis and breakdowns. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate you.
You bet, man. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you. Great stuff right there. Lewis Riddick, ESPN. And that was my request, right? Last week we got the call. Hey, Q, any chance you can get Lewis Riddick on the show? Yep, we sure can. So between me and Ari, we're going to make it happen. Get out. And I have a good idea that we'll be running that back again tomorrow here on the show. But we do hear from you next as we close out hour number 2, 702-365-9200. What would you determine as a successful night for the Silver and Black in preseason action, game number 1? We hear from you next. It's RaiderNation Radio 920.
Doing football right on Unnecessary Roughness. Brought to you by Meineke. Doing car care right.
Now back to Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right.
We're back here at Allegiant Stadium where there will be a game played this evening, kicking off at 5 o'clock. This show will ride till 3 o'clock. Then myself and Lincoln Kennedy will take over for the official pregame show, 3 to 5, and then we'll pass the sticks on to JT the Brick, Eric Allen, and Matt Millen for the call of the game. And then me and Lincoln will be back for the postgame show. So you don't have to do anything. Stay right where you are. Don't even touch your radio. You don't have to do anything, and you'll have hours on top of hours on top of hours on top of hours and hours and hours of Raider conversation, Raider game, and Raider coverage. So I'm very excited about that. Your one-stop shop, RaiderNation Radio 920. Had a really good conversation with Lewis Riddick. Got a really good conversation with Sam Gordon from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Expected to come up in about 10 minutes or so. But let's go out to the phone lines real quick. 702-365-9200. What would you determine as a successful night for the Raiders in preseason game number 1? Let's go out to Springfield, Missouri. Talk to our guy, Logan. Logan, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
What up, Q? I just wanted to call in and say a successful night would be at least, I'm asking one interception from the defense. We don't get those very often, but it sounds like coming out of training camp, all our corners and our secondary and our defense is just kind of flying around, getting the ball. And, of course, everybody stay healthy. That's it. That's what I want for a successful night. I believe in Rob Leonard, and let's see what we can do.
There it is. There it is. Logan, thanks for the call. Appreciate you. Really good stuff. And, yeah, man, I would love to see an interception. I would really like to see an interception or two, or just a takeaway in general defensively. That would be great, right? Just let me see a takeaway. Let me see that defense be a little bit nasty. You know the good thing about this Raiders team, and shout out to my guy Matt C., by the way. Matt just texted in. Thanks for getting Lewis on. I'm the one who called last week and asked. That was fantastic. So, yes, Matt, thanks for the suggestion, and glad that we were able to make that happen. Yes, he was fantastic. Really good conversation with ESPN's Lewis Riddick. But the good thing about this Raiders team, we've almost been on the air 2 hours and we haven't even talked about Brock Bowers. Right? And I haven't spent a ton of time just harping on Fernando Mendoza, like when is he going to play, when is he not going to play. Like we've talked about the defense, we've talked about the coaches, we've talked about Malik Benson, the wide receiver. Like, there's been so many different angles that you could talk about with this team. There are so many different storylines with this team, so much new with this team that you don't have to just fixate on one position. Yes, Fernando Mendoza's easy to talk about, right? Easy. We could come in here every single day and talk about Fernando Mendoza until we're blue in the face. And tomorrow the big headlines are gonna be Fernando Mendoza did and insert whatever he does tonight. That's gonna be the headline, I promise you. But that will be the low hanging fruit. That'll be the okay. Yes, that's the big topic. But what else is a big topic? What did the wide receivers look like? What did the offensive line look like? What did the defensive line look like? Did they have some takeaways? What about Jabad McCoy? What about Masses? You know what I mean? Like, there's been so many different angles that we spent just talking the last 2 hours. It's just like, wow, there's so much for this team. And just like the conversation with Louis Riddick, he's, paying attention to what the Raiders are doing. He's excited about the direction that the team is going. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that's good for Raider Nation to be excited about the direction this team is going, because it truly does feel like it's headed in the right thing. So, there you go. Really, really good stuff. Definitely appreciate that. Let's see. Sal said if Kirk could be our Jason Campbell pre-injury, that'd be a win, while Mendoza and the team are growing and learning. I'd like to see 1, 0 injuries, 2, first-team offense to get a touchdown, and 3, the young defense to show up without center blocks on their feet. Play fast, less thinking. 4, at least 4 run plays of 15 yards or more from the first and second team. I just mainly want to see consistency and that they're taking more steps forward than backwards. That's from our guy Sal, and I think that that's a really good way to summarize it as well, right? I mean, that goes back to just competency as a team, just going back to looking like that they have the sense of the direction that they're going, and that they believe in each other, and they believe in this coaching staff, and that everything that Clint Kubiak has been teaching and coaching and the rest of the staff is the right direction, is the way that this team is going to take that next step and actually get back to commitment to excellence and just win, baby, and that meaning something. Hour number 3 is up next. Sam Gordon will kick us off. We're live at Allegiant Stadium here on RaiderNation Radio 920.
It's a great atmosphere. Fans showed up. Fun practice. See you Thursday night.
It feels great to be back. Raider Nation, love y'all, baby. Let's go!
Guys, we're back. We're back!
3rd and 5 as the Cardinals are trying to pick up a first, and it'll be a sack. It'll be a sack on the play. Malcolm Kuntz came around the corner. Be careful, Malcolm. He was jumping up and down there. Great play. Let's get off the field. Pitch to the right and blown up behind the line of scrimmage. There he is. His birthday yesterday, and he's having a birthday party early. Mad Max Crosby.
What an amazing play.
Gino in the shotgun, looking left and then back right to Dante to a corner fade. He catches it as he in. Touchdown, Las Vegas Raiders. Dante Thornton right on the back shoulder, and the Raiders are on the board.
It's Unnecessary Roughness. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right. Here's your boy Q.
And here we go, hour number 3 of the show. We're here live at Allegiant Stadium. We're excited. We're fired up because there will be a game played here in just a little while. Raiders-Cardinals preseason game number 1. We threw the question out there to you on the text line and phone line. What would you determine as a successful night for the Silver and Black in preseason game number 1, 702-365-9200. We'll ask that question and more to our next guest who kicks off hour number 3. That's Sam Gordon from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And Sam, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you. You've been there every step of the way when it comes to training camp, practice, how this team is being built. What are you looking for tonight in preseason game number 1?
Well, first and foremost, Q, I always appreciate you having me on the show. Excited to join you out at the stadium in short order. Really, I'm looking to see first just kind of what that first team, that first unit looks like. I'm presuming, Clint Kubiak alluded to the fact that that Kirk Cousins and company are going to get an opportunity to run that first offense. You'd imagine the first defense is out there in some capacity too. So what do those groups look like? And then, of course, all eyes on Fernando Mendoza, right? The first time he's going out there at the NFL level where, he's going to get tackled. There's going to be a defense out there trying to stop him and his offense. How does he handle snaps under center? How is his command of the huddle? And, of course, what is he looking like in that pocket? Where is he going with the ball? Is he taking care of it? Is he pushing the ball down the field, taking chunk plays when they're available? So I think all those things are what I'm focused on. But, the debut of the rookie number 1 overall pick, I think is what I'm most excited to see. He of course has had 11 practices now. We've seen the highs, we've seen the lows, but now against some real resistance and opportunity for him to get his feet wet at the NFL level. It's going to be expecting a great atmosphere. Raiders fans to see the number 1 pick, the future face of the franchise, and excited to see how he responds in his first professional environment.
Another guy that we've been talking about quite a bit, me and you, especially at training camp watching, has been Malik Benson, the 6th-round pick out of Oregon. Obviously, Fernando's already developed a really good relationship with him. What do you expect to see, or what do you want to see from him tonight, finally going up against an opponent?
Yeah, Q, I had a short feature about him on reviewjournal.com, VegasNation.com that actually ran today. He is, quite frankly, right, just getting open in training camp, getting open underneath, getting open intermediate. We saw a couple days ago his ball skills in action on a go route, kind of back shoulder up against Darian Porter. So how much is he mixing in with the first unit? We've seen him blend in with those first groupings at times and hold his own in those lineups against the number one defense. And you expect him to get a lot of work with Fernando Mendoza as well. As you mentioned, it seems like every time 15 is dropping back, he's looking for 19, or he knows where 19 is. And naturally, right, because 19 has been getting open so much. So can that translate when there's opposition out there, when there's somebody in another jersey? And also, how much special teams is he going to be working? He has ability as a punt kick returner. He housed the punt last year, his senior season at Oregon. And certainly a way for him to get on the field as well, even if he's not necessarily a first-team wide receiver when the regular season starts. So just how is he being used? How many reps is he getting with the ones? How many reps is he getting with the twos? Does his connection with Mendoza translate over to the games? And what's he going to do in the return game? His speed, his route running, his quickness, and just his overall readiness as a 6th-round pick that played 5 years of college football, 2 years of JUCO, and then a year apiece at 3 of the best programs in the country, some of the most storied programs, Alabama, Florida State, and Oregon. So he's put it all together during camp. What can he do to continue to push himself up the depth chart? We're going to find out a little bit more about him tonight against the Cardinals.
Sam Gordon, Las Vegas Review-Journal, is with us here on RaiderNation Radio 920 and Necessary Roughness. We've also talked a lot about what I think could be the new law firm of Masses and McCoy, or McCoy or Masses, however you want to word it. Yeah. What do you think about those two guys who have looked the part so far in training camp, but now, just like Benson, are going to go up against another opponent?
Well, starting with Zeke Masses, Hezekiah Masses, the rookie out of Cal, the 5th-round pick, battling for that number 2 quarterback job opposite Eric Stokes, right? Him and Darian Porter, a lot of rotating. So first and foremost, how sticky is he in coverage when he is out there getting first-team reps, as I imagine he will in some capacity tonight? 2, tackling. Okay, not the biggest quarterback in the world. So he's been challenged to tackle at FIU, was challenged to tackle at Cal, and has responded to those calls. Now he's going to be put in a live tackling situation for the first time. So be it on the outside, be it in the nickel, where we saw him working a little bit. Curious to see if he's going to get any more run there tonight with Porter and with Stokes, and then kind of how he does in those areas I just mentioned from the nickel, be it from the nickel from the outside. As it pertains to Jermon McCoy, his first football game in almost 2 years now. So just the fact that he's made it through camp up to this point, healthy, you'd assume he has a lot of confidence from that standpoint alone. Imagine we'll see him out there working with the second group, and just him getting his feet wet, right? Playing football again, I think, is just a monumental achievement for him. The Raiders are working him in slowly. They have a plan for him. He got a day off last week. So how does he look physically? How does he adjust to the speed of the game? And, of course, just kind of making it through tonight, I think, is going to be a big victory for him, get his confidence back to where it needs to be. So I'm with you on terms of the law firm, right? McCoy and Masses, things go according to plan, and if those guys continue to develop, you might be looking at the cornerback tandem for the Las Vegas Raiders for the next 5 to 10 years. So that starts tonight. Excited to see what those guys both bring out to the field at Allegiant Stadium.
Again, Sam Gordon from the Las Vegas Review-Journal is with us here on RaiderNation Radio 920. So, it's only a preseason game. It's only preseason game number 1. They've got, multiple games to play before it's all said and done. What would success look like for you tonight? Like, for the Raiders to go out there and do what would be a successful step in the right direction?
Yeah, I think, you want to make it through any preseason game healthy. There's not a lot of controllables or variables, right? You got to play football. That's going to happen. Yep. So you of course want both teams to get out of there healthy with a long season ahead of them. But for the Raiders, I think success is Fernando Mendoza getting the chance to field a ton of snaps, getting out there, getting hit a little bit, getting accustomed, getting up to speed. And then if he can lead a drive or two, a scoring drive, or two in his time out there, I think that would represent an enormous success for that. First group with Kirk Cousins, same kind of deal. And then defensively, how many different looks can you get? It's going to be relatively vanilla, but how much can they rotate and get different personnel groupings mixed in there? Just kind of get film, see what guys are excelling where guys are comfortable where. We know Robbie Leonard's defense is going to be multiple, going to be moving guys around. Again, you're not going to overplay your hand on either side of the ball. You want to get different combinations, different lineup combinations out there, different groupings out there, different group personnel packages out there. Just to, I think, have that on film to not only practice off of, but to work off of next week as well when they get out there to Houston for the preseason. As they continue the preseason with joint practices and whatnot. So you're not worried about the scoreboard at this stage of the game. It's all about procedural, operational, getting Clint Kubiak comfortable, I think, running the team, just having his first experience running the team and also calling plays at the same time. So they get out there healthy, can score some points and mix in some defensive lineups and get some good film off of that. I think that represents a successful preseason debut. And, again, expecting an engaged, excited crowd at Allegiant Stadium, because for what feels like for the first time in a while, it feels like there's something material that the Raiders are building. They have a lot of young talent that's in a position to develop, and anytime you have the number one overall pick, that's obviously a cause for excitement. So excited to be back out there, feel the atmosphere, and see what the Raiders do in terms of just continuing the establishment of the culture of the offensive and defensive principles that they've been putting in place under Clint Kubiak and company so far in training camp.
On Tuesday, when they had their practice here at Allegiant, they had Andrew Janocko and also Robbie Leonard were on the sidelines, but they were also there, coaching them up. It wasn't necessarily a game. Do you think it matters if those guys are in the booth or if they're on the sideline? Is there a preference that you have?
Not necessarily. I think for the defensive coordinator, it probably makes some sense to be on the sideline. I think with Clint Kubiak, he's, of course, is going to be on the sideline. He's going to be the play caller with Andrew Janocko, his right-hand man. That might make some sense to have some eyes on the field from a different vantage point, just seeing how different plays are developing, different actions are developing, what that looks like from up there. But overall, big picture, I think for the practice, it made sense for both guys to be on the field. But I think procedurally, operationally, it would be interesting to see if Kubiak valued having a different look at his unit, his offense, somebody he trusts, but maybe a different vantage point up in the box.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, man. It's going to be fun, and it's going to kick off in a matter of a few hours right here at Allegiant, where I'm at right now. Raiders-Cardinals preseason game number 1. Really good stuff as always, Sam. What are you working on besides a recap of the game that we should be on the lookout for?
Oh man, we got a few things. We'll have some follow-up stuff, and I don't want to say too much, Q, but I do have a couple features on the works from let's just say a couple guys in the rookie class. Nice. It's a rookie class that I think is going to play quite a bit. You have guys with the potential to be.
You did.
I'm gonna let Q handle this. I'm checking it out right now, but it's hit or miss with me on this stuff, so I was gonna let you just.
No, I got it right here. Hold on.
See
it's as I'm going down. Yes, Justin Pickett. Yeah, Justin Pickett's been put on the reserve injured. From waived injured, does not count against the 90-man list. And that was already something that we had talked about. So that was the only move that they made. Okay. I thought that there was something that had gone on, but that was all that it was.
Everybody nervous. No, just kidding.
No, I mean, I just knew, I saw something that said the Raiders had made a move and it was on the transaction list, but that's what it was. The reserve injured, waived Justin Pickett. So there you go. And they made that transaction just the other day when they made an addition as well. So, all right, just want to make sure we're all up to speed.
Yes.
That's all. Nothing to see here. Nothing to panic about. There you go. So I got a bunch of feedback as well. Want to get to you. Like I said, Amber Theoharis should be joining us in about 15 minutes or so. 702-365-9200. Got so many really good texts. Want to try to get to as many as possible. Like this one from Raider Mike in Ohio's Q. A successful night will be if our running backs can hit the hole without getting hit 4 yards in the backfield. Cousins and Mendoza looking comfortable in the pocket by having some time to throw the ball, and the defense getting some pressures and a few turnovers. That's Raider Mike in Ohio. Great text. Would love to see the running game start to show some kind of sign of life as opposed to what we saw last year. And, as a matter of fact, the year before that as well. What else you got, Ari?
I was just going to say, as you say that, I'm watching Ashton Genty on the TV. It's about Boise State, talking about his 24th season, but pretty cool.
Nice. There you go. That's a great segue right there. How about this one from Kobe? Q, it's game day, man. I'm fired up. I won't be able to watch it until tomorrow. It's my girlfriend's birthday, which is wildly inconvenient. But you got to do what you got to do. I'm looking for the defensive line to see how they generate pressure outside of Max. The Cardinals had an awful offensive line, so hopefully we see somebody have some juice tonight in the second or third team. Thanks. And then he goes, side note, she's great, and I love her, but I'm still trying to get her to switch from a Chief to a Raider. LOL. All right, well, hey, look, you got the job now. You got the job, Kobe. You got to make sure that she switches things up, right? You got to go ahead and tell her that all of that, success that team has had is all false. That's all not real. It's a mirage, right? You got to sell her. Let's go. I'm gonna need you to come through like the first of the month, my man. So you got to let us know. And if you need some help and influence from us, of course, we'll be happy to help out as well. So just make her listen to us all the time. And by some point, she's gonna get so tired of listening, she's just gonna give. She's like, all right, fine. The dude's convinced me. It's cool. So there you go. Darren said, hey there, we had another alert enjoying the show from town. We may have a storm soon, at least games indoors, though. Go Raiders, Darren. Yeah, I know that we've got some emergency alert. That's like nothing we could do. There's nothing we could do about that. I'm trying to look outside the doors and see what the weather looks like, but
it's a little rainy. That's all I got. I barely could get the window, too, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not – what's up, Doc? It's not even I can't even tell because, the windows are all tinted and everything, so I couldn't really tell you what it looks like. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to get those – that's just what it is. There's nothing that we can do about it. We don't generate them, so it kind of stinks that they happen. But, just got to roll with them. I'd rather people be safe than not safe. And please and believe, I'll talk plenty. So, it always happens, though, when we have, like, a really good guest. Like, I don't know how many times it might have happened when we had Louis Riddick on, but it's like we have a really good guest, and then all of a sudden it happens right when they're in the middle saying something, like, great. It's like, hey, and by the way, I wanted to tell you about –
you'll never hear this again.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it hits, and it's like, oh, damn. But, yeah, there it is.
Just a spoiler alert, I will confirm there are no skips in Louis Riddick's. I just went through to double-check, so
okay, good.
There you go.
All right. Diego in Arizona says, success in this game has to be first downs for the offense and 3-and-outs for the defense. The points will follow, but in the second half, the third-string players have to prove they deserve to be on the 53-man roster, make it hard for the coaching staff to decide who makes the squad. That'll show the depth that the squad has, and that goes back to Louis Riddick's point. Right, if you're a 5th-round pick, you're a 6th-round pick, make those guys remember you. Do something to, be memorable. And, we've been talking about Hezekiah Masses in particular for a while now. And I remember asking Trey Tucker, it's always good when you ask a wide receiver about a DB and vice versa, DB about a wide receiver, because they're going up against each other. So I remember asking Trey Tucker about Hezekiah Masses, and when he said what stood out, and the minute that he said, man, I was observing rookie minicamp, think about how long ago that was. He was observing rookie minicamp and said, man, who's 35 out there? And it's funny that when he said that, because that's what I always say that we do when we're out there at training camp. We have the roster in our hand. Literally, I have the roster in my hand right now. And all of a sudden, somebody makes a play. It's like, oh, man, who was that? Oh, that was 35. That's Masses, right? Because you're still trying to get familiar with the 90-man roster. So you're trying to get familiar with all these numbers. Some of them, Malik Benson's been we've said about 19 so many times that we can't help ourselves to know who that is. 35, same thing. But there's, the guy 28, that's a guy that, we became very familiar with Jamal McCoy early because we kept looking to see if he was out there at practice. That goes all the way back to, OTAs and mandatory minicamp. But Masses he's been turning heads since rookie minicamp when Trey Tucker said that he was turning heads. It caught his attention then. And for training camp, he's done the same thing for us for sure. So this is these guys' opportunity to do that, just be memorable, right? And make a play, make a couple plays, look like it's not too big for you. That moment's not too big for you. And, just understand that you could be an asset to this team right now and obviously in the long term as well, especially with these young guys. So thanks so much for that. Do appreciate you. Let's see. Brent said success tonight would be not allowing any sacks, maybe a rushing touchdown or two, and at least one interception. I know it might be a lot to ask, but for maybe at least 2 of those 3. Okay, yeah, we got that again. That came through. Okay, cool. Thanks for that, Brent. Do appreciate that. What else did we get? Greg said, Greg in New Jersey said, Q, tonight I want to see, 1, a sustained drive on offense that makes us say, now that looked deliberate. 2, the secondary tracking the ball on receivers and sticky covers to build confidence for both players and us. And 3, the team ending the game healthy. Go Raiders. So there you go. That's our guy Greg in New Jersey that's got his thoughts on what success would look like as far as he's concerned. And again, the health is always the biggest thing, right? I mean, the scoreboard, we know at the end of the day is not going to matter. We know the win, the loss is not going to matter. That's all irrelevant. It's preseason. So you just want to make sure that you come out of this thing as healthy as possible and, put your best foot forward and just continue to build. You hope that you see something that you can say, all right, that was really good. Now let me see if they can do that next week against Houston. And then you hope that you see it against Houston and say, okay, let's see what they have next week against San Francisco. And, all right, they've had a couple weeks of successful preseason. Can they turn that into the regular season? Like, that's the natural progression that you're looking for. But, unfortunately, I can't fast-track to that moment. You literally have to go through the process. And nobody likes hearing that process word, but that's what it is. Let's see. What else do we got? Sean in the 916. It's always great to hear from Sean. It said, what's up, Q? Some things I want to see, and this is barring if they play, but I want to see these new linebackers. I'm excited about them. And then I want to see Mendoza make a throw where you're like, wow, he threaded that one, or that was on a rope. And then maybe give us a run for a first down, something like that. Show us some good pocket presence. Raider football is back, baby. God bless. That's from Sean in the 916. Yeah, I could do with all of that. I don't need to see him run. I'm good. I don't need to see him run because if he runs, he might get hit. And I don't want to see him get hit right now. If he's going to take a hit, I'd rather him take a hit that's going to matter and pick up a first down that's going to matter, or get a touchdown that's going to matter. I'd rather him just stay in the pocket and be good and throw the ball away if necessary. It's no reason right now to go get crazy and have to use his legs. Now, that's just natural football, and he'll do that if need be. But like I said, I prefer to see these guys stay as clean as possible just because it's preseason, and we know at the end of the day it does not matter. So I don't want that competitive nature, and, you can't take that out of people. But you don't want that competitive nature all of a sudden just to break out and him run in and take some unnecessary hit and from some guy that's trying to make the team from the from the Cardinals, some guy who's third team, like, hey, man, I'm going to make a big play right here and take out your quarterback. That's the last thing that you want. But I get it, though. I understand. You just kind of want to see him, put all his tools on display, what he's got in his arsenal. But I could trust and believe that he'll have that ability when need be. I don't necessarily need to see it right now. This one comes from Gurdeep from Phoenix. Q, Ari, it'll be a successful night if all of RaiderNation calls out sick from work tomorrow. Means we are doing good finally. Just win, baby. Party like it's 1999. How funny would that be? Like, all of a sudden, it's like, damn, how come so many people called in sick? how come so many people didn't show up to work? You know what I found out? I don't know if I don't know. This is probably a bad way to say it, but whatever. I'm already committed. You know that people could actually call out sick from work by way of text message now?
Is that where or when? I mean, because that feels like more of a case by case, like, meaning, would you appreciate if I texted you?
No,
like, hey, man, I ain't gonna be there.
No, that's what I'm saying. But it's
crazy.
so rare. I mean, it's to me it's unbelievable. But people actually do that now. They text like, hey, I can't come into work. Like, it was always we didn't text back in the day anyway, but it was always, if you were calling out, you literally had to call out, right? And, that person on the other end had an opportunity to, hear what you sounded like and, determine if this was real or not. Now everyone's like, it's Friday. It's Aloha Friday. Raiders played last night. Don't think I'm going to go to work. Let me go on and send them a text. Hey, can't make it. Sorry. Don't feel good. That's wild.
Oh, man.
It happens. So
I guess some jobs, if you have, if you could do your stuff at home, or if it's, as long as it gets done by the end of the week. But yeah, that's kind of
that should be a requirement that could never happen.
Right. And I hate calling anyway. I'm a text 100% guy if possible. But yeah, sometimes you just got to call someone.
That should be required everywhere. If you're going to call in sick, you literally have to call in sick.
And not only do you need to hear if the voice is a little congested or the person sounds a little down, you got to hear the background. Because if it's like, you've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right, where it's like that at least. You've seen that, right?
I mean, I know what the movie is. I know what it's based off.
I felt safe about bringing that. Yeah, like they're at a baseball game and after the
Right.
So if you got like the Raiders chant in the background, like
right. Yeah, let Sir Whiskey Ray call in sick tomorrow or
boy.
something like that. He on the strip, he hanging out, right? Well, sorry, can't make it in. I got sick.
Car broke down or something.
Right.
Else. Yeah.
That is hilarious. That is funny. But yeah, that's the thing now. And I don't know. Maybe that's been a while. One more quick text, then we'll get to Amber Theoharis. Mike from Vegas said, "Hey, Q, in terms of success for tonight, I'm looking for the offensive line to look somewhat competent. Last year, our offensive line looked so lost at times, and it was clear Brendan Carroll was not cut out to be an NFL coach, as we heard players would even meet privately to try and get some positive momentum. I just hope the coaching, or lack thereof, didn't stunt the growth of some of the young guys. Aside from that, I would love to see Fernando look fundamentally sound. Nothing too flashy just yet. Also would love to see Mike Washington get some good burn, as I think he could be an impact piece." Thanks, Q. It's Mike in Vegas. Yes, I want to see Mike Washington as well, and I know we will. We won't see very much Ashton Genty, but, man, Mike Washington Jr., he's got some juice. I got that chance to catch up with him last week at Raiders practice. He was fantastic. So was it? Yeah, it was last week, right? Or was it this week? I don't know. They're all these days are running into each other now.
But you're right. Yeah,
I feel like it was this week, but I think it was. No, it was Saturday. That's what it was. It was Saturday after practice. That's right. There you go. That's why it was the in between.
We heard it on Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah, exactly, or Monday. I think we heard it on Monday. Then we heard DeCam Richardson on Tuesday. Man, now you get me confused.
Yep.
I'm about to say, man, don't get me confused. I got enough problems.
Right.
702-365-9200. Let us know your thoughts. What would determine a successful night for the Raiders, in your opinion? Let us know. 702-365-9200. What you got?
Oh, that's also the number you can call right now for a pair of tickets to see the Spin Doctors at the pool at Sahara, Las Vegas, October 10th. It will not be raining. I have tickets in-house already, so give me a call right now. 702-365-9200. Caller 9 must be a Nevada resident.
Boom. There it is right there. Amber Theoharis. She joins us next. It's RaiderNation Radio 920.
Can't do everything overnight. I thought the Raiders had a very solid draft. They drafted off of essentials, but some of the blemishes that came out of the draft night was that, they didn't draft a prominent receiver. You got Benson in the 6th round, but he's not necessarily known as an ex-receiver. They're not there yet. But I also think this is more of a process. You start building a team, you get them to play together, and then next year you can take it in the draft where you can approach defensive tackle, wide receiver, positions that you didn't get to this year in free agency. You just have to have guys that can compete, and I think they have that.
You're listening to Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. Brought to you by Meineke, doing car care right.
Lincoln Kennedy right there talking about the wide receiver room not being quite where it needs to be, or at least they weren't able to address it in the draft as many people thought. But maybe a guy like Malik Benson, who they did end up selecting in the 6th round, maybe he can end up being that guy. Obviously, everything's not going to be able to be done overnight. That was Lincoln Kennedy as part of the conversation he had with Amber Theoharis on Tuesday right here where I'm at Allegiant Stadium, and Amber joins us now on the phone lines. And Amber, thanks so much for your time. Do appreciate you. I got a question. Am I talking to Raiders Amber Theoharis? Am I talking to SiriusXM Amber Theoharis? Or am I talking to Baltimore Amber Theoharis? What I got here?
It's always all three, and that's the beauty of it. That's the mystery of it. You never know which one you're going to get. No, I'm always Raider Amber Theoharis because, that's my team, and that's what I cover. And we just had our wonderful talent dinner last night to see all of our colleagues together. Just proud to be part of the organization now for my 5th year. But Baltimore Amber is who I am, and that comes out, as you see sometimes, when you're not expecting it. And I kind of like that part of it. Like, it reminds me I haven't forgot where I came from.
Exactly. And we appreciate it, and we embrace all three Amber Theoharises. There's no doubt about that. So how exciting is this? I mean, I know it's just a preseason game. It's the first one, but it really truly feels like this is a new chapter of Raider football. So for you in your coverage, how exciting is it for you?
I'm excited because I think this is a preseason that matters. There's a lot of teams. I'm about to go up to 49ers camp actually tomorrow. I've been to Rams, Chargers, Raiders. And I think the one difference with the Raiders is the roster is not set. The starting lineup is not set. We don't even have the starting quarterback set exactly yet. And so you're going to see people that are expected to be ones, Kirk Cousins, get a lot of, to play throughout the preseason because he's also, whether or not he's going to be the starter, he's with the ones and he's got to learn the offense even better and get in that rhythm. I think having the number 1 overall pick, be running with the 2s, but we've been talking about this, probably expecting to see him behind the first team line, will also be, out there with the 1s. So I think seeing that will be a little bit different than just training camp. So there's so much undetermined and so many people that could excite us. I know the bite came in about Malik Benson that we just came back from the break with. I want to see what that kid can do. I want to see what Zeke Masses can do against another team. So I think this is a very exciting 3 games of the preseason that we're going to see here.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Again, Amber Theoharis is with us here on RaiderNation Radio 920 Unnecessary Roughness. As far as when you were at the facility and you had a chance to talk to John Spytek and you talked to Kirk Cousins and Max Crosby, what was kind of your biggest takeaway, I guess, from John Spytek, knowing what he's trying to build here with this team in Las Vegas?
I think John is very measured. He has a plan that he has a lot of faith in, and he is sticking to that plan. But he also, at the same time, is very open to, as I know it sounds cliche, Clint Kubiak keeps saying it, but let everything reveal itself. So even though they have a plan, these are this is who is going to get reps with the 1s. This is what we're going to do in the preseason. We obviously expect certain starters to be etched in stone, like your Brock Bowers and your Ashton Genty. But I think they're also open to whoever earns the positions. And I think that's a great talent evaluator. I get the sense that, of course, he feels great about people that he brought in, people that he drafted, people that he traded for, people that he, signed in the offseason. And I said to him, do you kind of feel excited? Because this is like you get to see where all your expectations take place and your predictions. And he said, I actually don't have any predictions. And that's kind of the beauty of it. Like, he believes in the talent, but he also believes in the process. And that I've covered a lot of GMs, and, they don't get married to one person just because maybe they were a high draft pick, let's say. They go with what they see every day on film to make decisions, and I think he's very open to who is going to be the best 53 people that they see throughout this entire process.
What have you thought about the whole process from the head coach, Clint Kubiak? Obviously, it's his first time as a head coach, but Amber, I've said it many times, it doesn't seem like this is his first run at things. What have you thought from what you've seen from Clint Kubiak so far?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, even I'm very picky about media training, watching the way a coach handles how they speak to the media, because usually the new coaches, they seem very junior in their media appearances. They seem like they don't know what not to say and what to say, and some are almost too cagey sometimes. You don't have to be that cagey, and then some are telling too much. I just think he's very measured. He is very confident in what he is doing. And yes, if your father, was a head coach, I think that helps a lot. Also, he has been in some pretty big systems. He's been around some really good head coaches. So I think he probably absorbed what he learned from his father that works and what he saw from other coaches. I think he's also the perfect mix of kind of a hard-nosed coach, and I hate the word players coach because I don't think he's a players coach, but I think he's a players coach in the sense that they respect him because they like his process. It's earned. It's not a chummy, like, oh, yeah, that's my guy kind of thing. It's I know exactly what's expected of me, and I think if any of us have had a boss or a parent or anything where you know exactly what your parameters are, it commands respect, and that develops a very positive relationship between the both of you. I don't think there's ambiguity of what's expected, and that's why the players seem to really like him. So I just think he handles everything from messaging, to efficiency at camp. That's the word I keep hearing. This is the most efficient camp I've ever been through from players that have been at different teams. This is, I think he's going to be one of the best young head coaches we're going to see out of the new hires this year. And in the next couple of years, I do believe he's the person that will turn the Raiders around.
Amber Theoharis is with us here on RaiderNation Radio 920. So I've been throwing the question out there to Raider Nation. What would you look at tonight as a success? Like, what has to happen? What box needs to be checked for you to say, yep, successful preseason game number 1? So what are you looking for to say that was successful?
Well, I just got off the plane, so I didn't miss anything as far as exactly who's starting, correct?
No, nothing.
I just got off the plane. Okay, I want to make sure I'm in my car driving back, and I got on with you. You never know. So we don't really know. I think what would be successful is I see Fernando Mendoza get some reps. I think seeing him behind the first offensive line, what's expected to be somewhat the starting offensive line. I want to see him get some reps with some of the ones, even if it's, a series. I really just think getting him a look and then getting those, 5th, 6th round draft picks that have been flashing at camp some looks against real competition, even though, they're probably going against twos. I think that is a success. So the problem is, talking to both Clint Kubiak and Rob Leonard, they're not going to show anything in the preseason.
Right.
We're not,
Yep.
They're going to be very vanilla. So we're not going to really get an idea of what the real Clint Kubiak offense looks like, but from what I'm hearing from the players, they are very excited about this offense. It's very creative. I think there's going to be a lot of big packages. I think there's going to be if we see, we might see a lot of Michael Mayer or Ian Thomas, 12, even 13 personnel. How are they going to use a fullback as well? So, 22 packages. I think it's going to be a very hard to defend offense. And I can't wait to start to see that, but I don't think we're going to see it tonight. Tonight we're just going to see some reps from some people we're interested in.
Yeah, not to mention that the Raiders and Cardinals play again in the regular season, so they're really not going to show anything. They weren't going to show anything anyway, but they're really not going to show anything with them having to play again later on in the season. I did want to ask you this. We know Clint Kubiak's going to be on the field. He's the head coach, but he's also the play caller, so that'll be generated from the field. Do you have any idea if Robbie Leonard's going to be on the field, or is he going to be in the booth calling the defense?
That's a good question. He did not tell me. I did not ask him that question, so he did not tell me the answer to it. When we were talking just kind of off the record, it was a lot about, scheme and things he's trying to do. I'm also excited about that. Obviously, that was all off the record. But I think getting these young guys to learn a bunch of different disguises and being very versatile and moving guys around a lot will be interesting. If I had to guess, I see him I could see him up in the booth, and I think maybe, I don't know why I'm going back to, if I remember, wasn't Mike McDonald in the booth and with the Ravens, and he comes from that system with Mike, they knew each other very well, so I'm just kind of guessing, but I don't know. I really don't know.
It's normally a question that I ask early in the process, and I forgot to ask him, and then I just thought about it. I was like, wait, because on Tuesday we saw him on the field, but that was a practice. You know what I mean? So he's going to be down there with the guys anyway. To me, just knowing Robbie Leonard and knowing his energy, I feel like he's more of be on the field and, being able to communicate and look my guys right in their eye. You know what I mean? Like he feels like a on-the-field type guy.
That's where, I'm not sure, because I feel like that's the defensive line coach in him.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, I know what he is. He is so cerebral with his transition to being a defensive coordinator. I could see him wanting, like taking that step kind of for himself to focus on not the rah-rahness. You know what I mean? Like really the cerebral part. Because if you talk to Rob Leonard when he comes off the field at training camp and he's like, just kind of shooting the breeze with you, he is so analytical and he is not rah-rah in that moment. And that's maybe why I'm guessing that I think he will be a little bit more measured than you think. We're judging that on the defensive line coach we know, which is like that guy. I don't know. This is a guess. I'm glad you brought it up. I forgot to ask him as well. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out sooner rather than later. Well, we'll close out with this, and great stuff as always. I'm intrigued to see Mike Washington. I know who Ashton Jeanty is, and I believe he's going to have a big year. But Mike Washington, I think he could be a really good, 1-2 punch with Ashton Jeanty. What have you thought about the fourth-round pick out of Arkansas?
Yeah, look, I think he's a good compliment. He's like a power gap kind of guy. Like he just brings a lot to the table. He can lower his shoulder, but I think they are going to. I don't even know the word 1-2 punch is correct, because it's going to be so a one punch.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be true bell cow, and I think using the fullback as well. In some of those packages, with Ashton Jeanty. But I think Mike is going to earn the right for Clint to get him into the offense, if that makes sense. I think they know they have a bell cow and Ashton Jeanty, but a lot is going to be asked of a lot of different people. That's why I think when we're very singular in some of our questions that we normally ask, who's your X receiver? How's that 1-2 punch going to work? Well, I don't even think there's going to be an X receiver. I think a lot of guys are going to do a lot of things in order for Brock Bowers to be the one receiver, and then also sometime in 13 personnel, with 3 tight ends. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of movement, and yes, Mike is, I think he's they really hit on the mid to lower rounds. I think that is going to be a story of this draft we look back at, that they're going to have these kind of people there. But I like Mike. I think he's going to earn his right to be used creatively. Ashton does not want to. Ashton told me, he was like, I said, how do you think he's going to be a 1-2 punch? And he's like, well, I don't want to come off the field too much. He's ready to have the whole load. He's like, but he's a really good back. So I think Ashton's gearing up for give me the rock. And they're two kind of different, a little bit different styles, where Ashton is going to be able to kind of be more, trying to think of the word, is in that blocking, the zone run. Sorry, I'm exhausted from getting up so early. We just did 3 hours of a show. In that zone run blocking scheme, you kind of have to be able to bounce around to the outside, and I think that's going to be interesting. Like, remember, the Raiders weren't able to do that a couple of years ago.
Right.
And then how do they use Mike in a different way? Maybe just like power gap, So I think that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, it really will be. And I know for a fact, Ashton told me all the time that, people used to always ask him, like, oh, hey, man, you had 20 carries. That's your career high. How do you feel? He's like, I feel fine. I'm a volume back. I feel great. And so I always told him that I'd make sure that nobody asked him that question this upcoming year when he has all those touches, how he feels, because he's a guy that can carry the rock.
25.
Exactly. Exactly.
I go, Ashton, even if you got 25 carries and you're in Denver, you can't breathe because of the air up there, and he's like, no, I'm good. Like, he looked at me like,
exactly.
What do you mean? Like, why?
Yep.
What he was, and usually guys will give you the kind of cliche answer, like, yeah, he's a good, gives me a breather. He was like, nah, I don't need that. I'm good. I think Ashton is going to have a huge year, and Mike is going to be just a luxury.
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%, and I'm always with you 100%. Amber Theoharis, fantastic stuff as always. Fresh off a plane and on the radio with me. That's what I'm talking about. That's how we get down. Really?
Coffee of the day. We're going.
There you go. There you go. Hey, really good stuff as always. Thanks so much. Me and Link, we're about to hop on and do the pregame show and get ready for our game tonight. So thanks so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Have fun, guys. Enjoy.
Will do. Will do. Amber Theoharis right there. Silver and Black Show, SiriusXM NFL. And every once in a while, she is Baltimore Amber as well. And a little bit of Baltimore Amber came out last night. It was great. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go on and get fired up. So we got a few more minutes left in today's show. It's been fantastic. From all the guests that we've had, Vinny Bonsignore, Bo Brock, Lewis Riddick, Sam Gordon, and just wrapped up with Amber Theoharis. And, oh, believe me, the party does not stop there. We're going to go all the way until 5 o'clock. Myself and Lincoln Kennedy will take over the wheels of steel at 3 o'clock and get you ready for, Raider football. I know that we'll have on the show Jason Horowitz will be part of the show. I know that Kirk Morrison will be part of the show. And I'm sure Paul Gutierrez will be part of the show as well. Man, we are going. And if you're going to make your way to Allegiant Stadium, I do understand that it's a little rainy outside, so make sure you're careful out there on those roads. We want you to get here safely and have a good time when you do get here. But, we're getting closer and closer. I'm excited. I've been here all day. and I would have it no other way. So let's keep this party rolling. Got a couple more texts that we'll get to as we wrap up the show. Let's see. Jared said, what up, Q? Finally made it. It's game day, baby. Success for me tonight. Looks like getting in the end zone with the offense 3 times. 3 touchdowns would be great. The average only 2 touchdowns or barely 2 touchdowns last year. So even though it's preseason, 21 points by the offense would be fantastic. Thanks, Q. Love what you do. Go Raiders. That's our guy, Jared. He wants 3 touchdowns. So, hey, man, when you only average 14 points per game, RaiderNation is starving to see the end zone. Right? Starving to see the end zone. Didn't get to see it too many times last year, consistently. So would love to see them get off to a really good start and just look like, like that's what an offense is supposed to look like. Like that's what I want to come in tomorrow and say. That's how I want to start the show. I want Ari to play a highlight, and I come in and say, hey, welcome to Aloha Friday. Now, damn it, that's what an offense is supposed to look like. Like, that's what I want to say. And I want to say it just like that, right, with a little edge, a little something in my neck, right, a little edge to me. I want to walk out of here tonight when the post-game show's wrapped up and I'm making my way to the car. I want to have a little extra something in my step. A little something. Like, okay. That's what it's supposed to look like. I need to go back. I need to go find that that message that we had where I had my my pregame speech. I need to go back to that before we wrap up. Captain Nemo Starship says, Raider Nation, true story. I called into work one night to my manager. I told him I wasn't feeling well, would not be into work the next day. He said, that's fine, get well. I forgot to hang up the phone. The next time I went to work, he told me you forgot to hang up the phone. He said he could hear the pool table balls cracking, the karaoke machine popping, and the girls laughing and asking for more beer from the Cake Meister. We both laughed, and he reiterated, don't forget to hang up the phone, fool. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. That's exactly what happens right there. That is fantastic stuff. And yeah, man, you got to hang up the phone. Always hang up the phone. Dave said, Jersey Dave, RAQ, can you give the word of the day before the pregame show? What's the word of the day?
The word of the day is flight, F-L-I-G-H-T, flight. And I think technically we'll give you till 5 today, right? So there you go.
Yeah, till 5 o'clock. Why do you always yell about it why do you always yell the word, though?
Because I'm very intentional about the spelling and you guys getting it right and all these flights and far and different F words I see. So, yeah, that's all. Just want to get it right. That's all.
All right, here we go.
Aggressive, I know.
Here we go.
You got
30. I'm trying to find it. Oh, man, I can't find it. Dang it. Oh, well. I thought I was going to be able to find the text that we had that had my speech. Maybe I'll deliver it tomorrow. But it was a fantastic one. So don't go anywhere. I know the music's playing. The show is wrapping up. Don't you worry. Coming up at the top of the hour, myself and Lincoln Kennedy will be on the pregame show, and then the call of the game will be JT the Brick, Eric Allen, and Matt Millen at 5 o'clock. But coming up next, official Raiders pregame show on Raider Nation Radio 920. We'll see you in a minute.